Chapter 3350. His fist turned into the shape of a golden crow. Despicable human, who do you think you are? How dare you use my golden crow's divine ability? Jin Wulai was furious. He had the bloodline of the golden crow, so the phantoms on his body carried the aura of the golden crow. How dare his opponent use the divine ability of the golden crow? He was courting death. The raging flames on his body surged forward. Die! He wanted to burn his opponent to death with his flames. Although he was a genius of the Vermilion Bird Palace, he had the bloodline of the Golden Crow, so the flames on his body were extremely terrifying. He was confident that he would not lose to Yan Nantian in terms of fire attribute divine ability. However, his good luck came to an end. He met Lin Xian. Lin Xian's 9-sun fist turned into a golden stream of light and rushed into the sea of flames. It bombarded all directions. The surrounding flames surged and a hole was punched out. A golden fist came in front of Jin Wulai. How is this possible? Jin Wulai's expression changed. How can his opponent be so powerful? He wanted to escape, but his head was blown off by the punch. He wanted to escape with his soul. The 9-sun divine fire ignited his soul in an instant. Miserable cries rang out. In just an instant, his soul was extinguished, and his headless body fell down with blood gushing out. The surrounding experts were all stunned and swallowed their saliva. Is Jin Wulai dead? Was he killed by a punch? Who is this person? Even if Jin Wulai wasn't the strongest among them, he was at least in the top 3. But now, he could not even block a punch from his opponent. Who are you? The other experts asked in a trembling voice. I am Lin Wudi. You should all die. What? Lin Wudi? You are Lin Wudi? The surrounding people were all stunned, and their faces were full of horror. The person in front of them was Lin Wudi? He was the one who suppressed Yan Nantian. Now they finally knew why Long Zhaotian had fled at the first moment. He had already recognized him. Damn it, don't you people of the Vermilion Bird Palace know him? The people of the Dark Moon Temple roared crazily. The faces of the people from the other clans also turned ugly. The people of the Vermilion Bird Palace were filled with regret. How could we know him? We didn't participate in that battle. We only knew his name. Why are you complaining? Run! They fled in all directions as if they had gone mad. This method of escape was the most effective because there was always someone who could escape. Trying to escape? Lin Xian stomped his foot, causing the earth to tremble. Endless waves rolled and turned into sea dragons that rushed out. Lin Xian also knew the law of water, so his strength was equally terrifying in the sea. Boom! Boom! How could these people be a match for Lin Xian? Therefore, in an instant, they were torn apart by the sea dragon, and even their souls were devoured. Screams of agony rang out, and then they all disappeared. Blood dyed the bottom of the sea red, spreading in all directions with the current. Lin Xian turned his head and looked at Lu Mu's corpse. I've already killed your enemy for you. There's still Long Zhaotian left, but I won't let him go. As for your junior sister's safety, Before Lin Xian could finish, his pupils shrank. The surrounding people also exclaimed in surprise. The woman in green hugged Lu Mu's corpse, her face full of tears. Suddenly, she pulled out a dagger that shone with a cold light and stabbed it towards her own heart. Poof! Blood spurted out, and the woman in green fell into Lu Mu's arms. Senior brother, I'll accompany you on the road to the Yellow Springs. You won't be lonely. No, how could it be like this? Yan Ryu hurriedly squatted down and tried to save her. But the woman in green said, It's useless. The dagger is coated with poison. Anyone below the Saint Realm will die. If you don't need it, save me. Damn, how could it be like this? The Crimson Dragon also let out a strange cry. Lin Xian frowned and took a deep breath. The Law of Wood rushed out. At the same time, the power of the great dragon sword soul also rushed into the woman in green's body, destroying all the poison. Miraculously, the woman in green's aura was declining, but it quickly recovered. How could it be? I'm not dead! The woman in green screamed. She found it hard to believe. She couldn't even die now? Lin Xian said. I promise you that I won't let you die. Moreover, you shouldn't die. I think Lu Mu doesn't want you to die either. As he spoke, Lin Xian waved his hand and made the woman in green fall asleep temporarily. Then, he sent her to the spirit boat. At the same time, he asked He Tu to take care of Lu Mu's corpse. Then, he flipped his hand and took out the simple key. This was given to me by Lu Mu when he was alive. Moreover, he guarded this place to death. I think there should be a treasure nearby. Behind, I saw the cave entrance. The Crimson Dragon pointed to the back and said, All right, let's go in and take a look. Lin Xian and the others took a deep breath and walked forward. There was indeed a cave abode in front of them. After going deeper, they found a bronze door. The bronze door was covered with Dao runes and flickered with unparalleled power. It was obvious that this was the cave abode of a sage. Moreover, it was very difficult to open it with external force. No wonder these people wanted to snatch this key. Lin Xian put the key in his hand into the bronze door, and then turned it forcefully. Suddenly, a clicking sound was heard and the bronze door slowly opened. Let's go in. Everyone, be careful, Lin Xian said as layers of light appeared on his body. The others also activated their defenses. After entering, the bronze door closed again. Lin Xian and the others looked around. This cave abode was not complicated. There was only a large hall. In the middle, there was a skeleton sitting cross-legged. It was a colorful skeleton. There was no flesh and blood, but the skeleton was still sitting there cross-legged. It seemed to have died during cultivation. The Crimson Dragon went forward and observed carefully. Then, he said, It should have reached the end of its lifespan and died of natural causes. Hearing that, the others nodded. At that moment, the Northern Demon exclaimed, Look, there's something on the wall. They looked towards the wall. Indeed, there were patterns painted on the wall. There were 4 walls, and each wall was painted with many patterns. Lin Xian and the others glanced at it, and realized that it should be a kind of divine martial art. Moreover, it was an extremely profound divine martial art. The Crimson Dragon even said excitedly, It might be a nomological divine martial art. Let's quickly find one to comprehend. Each of them stood on a wall and began to comprehend with all their might. Lin Xian came to the northern wall and looked at the Dao runes carved on the wall. He gradually became shocked. At first, he could not see anything. But gradually, Lin Xian realized that the surrounding Dao runes were all flowing. Then, he seemed to see a boundless pitch-black sea, and a colossal creature charged out. It was a fish, a black fish. It was extremely terrifying, like a black demonic mountain. It rose into the air and began to transform. It grew golden wings and seemed to transform into a huge golden bird that soared into the sky. This is Kun Peng. Chapter 33:51. Lin Xian sucked in a breath of cold air. He was stunned. The Kun Peng was a divine beast of heaven and earth. It was extremely powerful and not weaker than the Qilin race. Could it be that this skeleton was an expert of the Kun Peng race when it was alive? And what was engraved on the wall was also a divine ability of the Kun Peng race. Lin Xian had no idea. He could only activate his heavenly secret divine eyes now. In front of him, the Kun Peng began to soar into the sky. It was extremely fast. It was a movement technique. Lin Xian was shocked. He memorized the illusion of the Kun Peng in his mind. He closed his eyes and carefully comprehended it. When he opened his eyes, the illusion of the Kun Peng on the wall had disappeared. Even the nomological Dao patterns had disappeared. He exclaimed. Yan Ruyu and the others also exclaimed from the other 3 walls. It had disappeared. Obviously, the 3 of them had also comprehended the divine ability on the wall. And it seemed that this divine ability could only be comprehended by one person. After one person comprehended it, it had disappeared. What did you guys comprehend? The Crimson Dragon asked. Lin Xian said. I saw a Kun Peng. It should be the Kun Peng movement technique. Kuan Peng! The Crimson Dragon screamed. The Northern Demon and Yan Ryu gasped. They were all related to the demon race. Naturally, they knew what the Kuan Peng represented to the demon race. It was a powerful existence that was not inferior to the dragon race. And now, the Kuan Peng was very rare. There were far fewer of them than the dragon race. However, no one doubted the strength of the Kuan Peng. So when they heard that Lin Xian saw a Kuan Peng, they were shocked. Was it not the Kuan Peng divine ability that they saw? Lin Xian was also surprised. He thought that the sage here was a sage of the Kuan Peng race. Now, it seemed that it was not. The Northern Demon shook his head. I saw a wood elemental saber technique called the longevity saber. I saw a palm descending from the sky. It was like the palm of a god. When it slammed out, it froze everything. It was the heaven double palm. Yan Ryu said. The Crimson Dragon said. What I saw was the heavenly dragon divine claw. However, it was just a dragon that was cast by a human expert. If Ben Wang were to cast it, it would definitely be more powerful than him. It seemed like the four of them saw different things. Also, it was unknown whether it was a coincidence or some other reason, but what they saw was very suitable for them. Looking at this power, it should be a law mystical ability. Even if it wasn't, it was close, because it was really too difficult to comprehend. The Crimson Dragon screamed. The others nodded as well. They were overjoyed. For nomological mystical abilities? What an unexpected surprise. A law divine ability was much stronger than an ordinary divine ability. Since we obtained the nomological mystical abilities here, we should express our gratitude. After all, it was a divine ability cultivation method left behind by this senior. Lin Xian suggested. The four of them nodded. Then they came in front of the five-colored skeleton and bowed deeply. Thank you, senior, for bestowing the nomological mystical abilities to us. We will definitely bring them to greater heights. Crack! Suddenly, a sound rang out. A stone platform suddenly rose from the ground where Lin Xian, or the five-colored skeleton crystal, was. There were actually 4 crystals on it that flickered with incomparable light. These were divine crystals. Everyone was puzzled. They weren't surprised by the divine crystals. They had many in their hands. However, Yan Ryu exclaimed. These were law divine crystals. Look, there were many nomological Dao patterns carved on them. Indeed, they could tell at a glance that these weren't ordinary divine crystals. The Dao patterns contained on them were really too complicated. Although they couldn't compare to real Dao stones, they were much more precious than divine crystals. There were a total of 4 pieces, 1 for each person. Everyone didn't stand on ceremony and took 1 each. They still wanted to investigate if there were any more treasures around. Suddenly, a violent rumble sounded from outside. The sky and earth shook, and the entire cave shook. However, it didn't shatter. The cave abode of a saint was actually so easy to shatter. But it was obvious that someone had already arrived outside. Let's go out and take a look, Lin Xian said. The others also nodded. They used the key to open the bronze door. Then they walked out. When they just went out, they realized that there were a few figures in front of them. Their auras were very powerful, and there was even the aura of a saint. At this moment, the cave behind them rumbled and completely sank into the bottom of the sea, disappearing. This scene surprised Lin Xian and the others. It seemed that this cave could only be entered once. When the people outside saw the people inside coming out, they were ecstatic. But when they saw that the cave had actually sunk into the bottom of the sea and disappeared, they became anxious. Damn it, they came to the cave this time to obtain the treasures, but the cave was gone. What should they do? For a moment, countless gazes stared at Lin Xian. They had entered the cave before, so the treasures were with them. They had to capture them. Linwoody, you guys won't be able to escape. Hurry up and hand over the treasures you obtained. Perhaps I'll give you a quick death. At this moment, a figure in front of them let out a sinister laugh. It's you. Lin Xian and the others were stunned. Then, they laughed coldly. You and how dare you come back? The arrogant person in front of them was Long Yaotian. Beside him were a few powerhouses from the Dragon Valley. One of them was a real saint. The saint was an old man. He had a dragon head and a human body. There was a pair of dark golden wings on his back. The aura of a saint spread out in all directions. The pressure between heaven and earth became very heavy. The Dragon Valley was originally from the dragon tribe. The dragon tribe was powerful and had a terrifying bloodline. They were originally stronger than other tribes of the same level. At this moment, the dragon tribe's saint was naturally even stronger. Beside him, there were a few powerhouses from the dragon tribe. Each of them was extremely strong. At this moment, one of them said coldly, "Did you guys get the treasures in the cave?" "That's right, we got it." Lin Xian nodded without hiding anything. The powerhouses from the dragon bone were ecstatic. "Great, since you guys got it, hurry up and hand it over. Otherwise, you guys will die a horrible death." Long Zhaotian jumped out again. This time, other than the dragon tribe's saint, there were a few clones of the saints. The saints of the dragon clan were not comparable to the average saints of the human clan. So what if Lin Wuyi was strong? He definitely couldn't beat them this time. Therefore, Long Zhaotian continued to be arrogant. "Kid, I know you're strong. You can defeat Yan Nantian and have the Great Destruction Spear. But the Dragon Valley saints are not ordinary saints. You can't resist at all. Hurry up and kneel down. Hand over the treasures, the Great Destruction Spear, and the 2 great inheritances. If we're in a good mood, we can leave you with an intact corpse. If you dare to resist," Long Zhaotian was still arrogant. Suddenly, he was slapped away by a golden palm. Lin Xian made his move. The golden palm covered the sky. Even in the sea of void, it was extremely strong. A slap landed on Long Zhaotian's face and sent him flying. Chapter 3352. Arg! Long Zhaotian screamed in agony. His face was shattered and his body was covered in cracks. It was a terrifying sight. "Who do you think you are? Even if you call yourself a sage, do you think you can be so arrogant in front of me?" Lin Xian sneered. The people of Dragon Valley were stunned. How dare Long Zhaotian attack Long Zhaotian in front of them? Where did he get his confidence from? Just because he could defeat Yan Nantian. They admitted that Yan Nantian's future was limitless after using the successor of the earth. But so what? No matter how strong Yan Nantian was, he was just a young man. They had been cultivating for thousands of years. Their dragon tribe bloodline was strong and they could even suppress Yan Nantian. Did he really dare to go against them? Long Zhaotian was stunned by the slap. His head was still smashed, and his body kept shaking. He could not heal it immediately. The Dragon Valley sage's face fell. This time, he had come to support Long Zhaotian. At the same time, he wanted to obtain the treasures in the cave. But now, someone dared to injure Long Zhaotian in front of him. This was a slap to his face, a slap to the Dragon Valley's face. "You're courting death." One of the Dragon Valley elites was furious. "How dare you attack us in front of us? How arrogant!" Long Zhaotian came to his senses and quickly recovered his head. Then, he screamed like a madman. "Elder, kill him! You must kill him! Capture him and skin him alive! Use our dragon tribe's fire to burn his soul! Let him suffer a fate worse than death!" His voice was so vicious that it made the North Demon and the others gasp. On the other hand, Lin Xian laughed coldly and sent a slap out. "How dare you threaten me? Do you really think I won't kill you?" The slap tore Long Zhaotian's body into pieces. Blood and organs flowed all over the ground. It was a ghastly sight. "You're courting death." The elites of Dragon Valley were enraged. A person shouted coldly and stretched out his hand. It was a black dragon expert. His pitch-black claws carried an incomparably gloomy and cold aura. The slap shattered the void and formed a large black hole that swallowed Lin Xian. "I'm not afraid of you." In the face of his opponent's attack, Lin Xian did not dodge at all. Instead, he raised his fist and directly pushed it forward. There was nothing fancy about this punch. Clearly, it was pure physical strength. Boom! Their fists collided in the air, producing a sky-shaking sound. Lin Xian's 9 sons' divine fist did not have any abnormalities. As for the black dragon's claw, it trembled slightly and retreated. Where are you going? 9 sons opened his palm and grabbed forward again. This time, his palm was like a golden 5-fingered mountain. It quickly rushed over and grabbed the other party's black dragon claw. Then, he used his strength to break it. Crack! The sound of bones breaking could be heard. Following that was a muffled groan. Lin Xian exerted some force in his palm and tore off the other party's arm. Pung pung pung! The black dragon from the Dragon Valley quickly retreated. His expression was extremely unsightly, and he was even trembling slightly as he held onto his wound. The other powerhouses from the Dragon Valley were stunned. The one who attacked was not an ordinary person. It was a black dragon powerhouse who was sent down by a saint. His physique was so strong that he could even compete with a saint. But now, he was injured in one move by the other party. Even his arm was torn off by the other party. How could the other party's physique be so strong? As expected of the 9 sons' divine body. His physique was indeed very strong. At this moment, the old saint from the Dragon Valley spoke. However, no matter how strong you are only a half-saint. Can you really be compared to me? The dark golden wings on his back trembled slightly. Immediately, countless cracks spread in all directions. Endless precepts transformed into divine chains that circled around the area. A terrifying sage's aura descended from the sky. Feeling this aura, the Crimson Dragon and the others frowned. Yan Ryu was also surprised. She and Lin Xian had killed a saint before. The aura of that child saint was too weak compared to the current dragon powerhouse. Be careful, Yan Ryu reminded him. Lin Xian nodded his head and looked at the other party with a cold smile. A saint of the dragon race? You are old, and this era does not belong to you. So, hurry up and get lost. Otherwise, if you piss yours truly off, yours truly will break your bones. Hearing this, Yan Ryu was speechless. Didn't she say to be careful? The other powerhouses from the Dragon Valley looked terrible as well. Damn it! How dare the other party talk to their saint in such a manner? How arrogant! Elder, I'll go kill him. At this moment, the other person spoke again. He quickly charged over. Lin Xian laughed coldly. A saint's clone? What's the big deal? Get lost! This time, he lifted his foot and kicked forward. The sole of his foot seemed to have turned into a sharp heavenly blade, cleaving everything in its path. With a boom, the saint's clone was sent flying. Enough! Go to hell! Seeing this, the Dragon Valley saint was enraged and slapped out with his palm. His palm was dark gold in color, and the aura it gave off was enough to send chills down one's spine. The northern demon and the others retreated hurriedly. Lin Xian hollered out coldly as well. His fist flew out and turned into a kunping. The golden fist spread its wings and clashed against the dark gold palm. Clang! The sound of an intense collision rang out as Lin Xian retreated. His arms were numb. But soon, the energy within his body surged out, and his fighting strength soared once more. A saint? That's all there is to it. Elder, this fella is strange. You must give it your all. Long Zhaotian fought once more. Noisy! Go to hell! Lin Xian's eyes shone with a sharp glint. The great destruction spear flew out and pinned Long Zhaotian to the ground. With a burst of strength, Long Zhaotian's soul was torn apart. This time around, he was completely dead. Old man, let me see what capabilities you have to be so arrogant in front of me. Lin Xian took out the great destruction spear, and his aura soared. At this moment, he was like a peerless king. With a stomp of his feet, the earth cracked. Kill! Lin Xian attacked fiercely. The great destruction spear charged forward with a piercing sword chi. Boom! 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 The Dragon Valley Saint waved his dark gold dragon claw and turned into a sky full of dragon shadows to fight back. Shocking sounds of collision rang out. But soon, the saint was enraged. He was courting death. It was obvious that he did not gain any advantage in the collision just now. In fact, he was at a disadvantage. This scene left the remaining powerhouses of the Dragon Valley dumbfounded. Did their elders and saints suffer a loss at the hands of the other party? It was hard to believe. Well, I only wanted to kill you with pure physical strength. But it seems that you have some strength. Well, then, you will die under my laws. Behind him, the dark gold wings danced. Suddenly, dark gold flames appeared and danced. Chapter 33:53. As soon as the flame appeared, Yen Ryu and the others trembled, revealing a look of horror. The fire of law. The other party had comprehended the law of fire, and it was not an ordinary flame. It was a very strange flame. Great, the elder is serious. That kid is dead. The Dragon Valley expert sneered and retreated to watch the battle. Lin Xian also frowned. Dark golden flame? The law of fire, the other party's flame aura, made him a little shocked. Buzz! The Dragon Valley sage opposite him moved. The dark golden flame turned into streams of light, like two dragon swords, and rushed over. Lin Xian sneered. With a flash of his body, he mysteriously disappeared. When he reappeared, he was already beside the old man. The great spear of destruction pierced a pair of dark golden wings. What fast speed! The powerful beings of the Dragon Valley cried out in shock. Even the saint of the Dragon Valley was shocked. This speed was so fast that he almost couldn't react. This guy is so fast. The Crimson Dragon was also surprised. He had spent a lot of time with Lin Xian, and naturally knew of Lin Xian's strength. But he did not expect this speed to shock him. Yen Ryu said. It should be the lost supernatural abilities that he said he comprehended on the four walls just now. It should be the Kunping movement technique. The Kunping movement technique was so fast that even the sage was shocked. Boom! The great spear of annihilation struck the dark golden wings with great force. The dark golden wings kept shaking, and the flames on them drifted out. What a strong physique! Lin Xian was surprised. If it was an ordinary half-saint, the spear would have pierced through. But the dark golden wings were unharmed. Lin Xian was surprised, and the dragon race expert was even more shocked. He was a sage, and a half-saint could not even get close to him, let alone attack him. But now, the young man in front of him broke all the rules and crashed into the dark golden wings. Although his wings weren't broken, the tremendous force caused his blood to boil. Courting death. He counterattacked like a madman, and the two of them engaged in a fierce battle. The dark golden light and the black torrent kept colliding. Every strike was earth-shattering. The other half-saints of the dragon tribe had to stay far away. Yen Ryu and the others also retreated to the side. Buzz, buzz, buzz. Suddenly, Lin Xian's body was covered in a layer of strange flowing light. His feet flickered, and his speed increased to the extreme. In the blink of an eye, 108,000 attacks were unleashed, all of them converging on a single point, causing an earth-shattering collision. The Dragon Valley Saint was sent flying, and a crack appeared on his wing. Then, with a cracking sound, a piece of his wing fell off. Blood instantly sprayed out, and the dark golden flames evaporated the surrounding seawater. Ah! You dared to hurt me, damn it! The Dragon Valley elder roared like a madman. He pretended to be crazy, and his eyes were red. The experts of the Dragon Valley were also stunned. Was their elder injured? What did they see? A half-step sage had injured a sage. Was this a dream? You want to kill me? You're not qualified. Lin Xian was incomparably strong. What's so great about a sage? It's not like I haven't killed one before. Boom! The great dragon sword spirit roared again, fusing with the great destruction spear. His battle strength rose to the extreme, and with one strike, the black torrent was like a peerless sword light, splitting the entire world. Boom! The Dragon Valley elder was also sent flying. He screamed, and the fire precept on his body was monstrous. A dark golden saint domain rushed out and shrouded Lin Xian. At the same time, Lin Xian shouted coldly, Ruyu, you guys go and finish off the others. Yan Ruyu and the others looked at the other experts of the Dragon Valley. It's a good opportunity to test Ben Huang's heavenly dragon divine claw. The Crimson Dragon walked out and looked at the experts of the Dragon Valley with a cold smile. The people of the Dragon Valley frowned. You dare to attack us, Ant? Dragon blood surged in their bodies, but the Crimson Dragon was not afraid. With a dragon roar, it shocked the half-saints of the Dragon Valley. Damn it, the other party's bloodline seemed to be much stronger than theirs. Fine, then I'll test my longevity blade. The North Demon also activated the body of 10,000 demons. He was not afraid of the dragon race's bloodline at all. Yenryu slapped out her white hands. It was like the palm of a celestial emperor. The surrounding seawater was instantly frozen. Sky Frost palm. Boom! 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 A half-saint of the Dragon Valley was instantly frozen. His body was shattered into pieces along with the ice. Although he was not killed, he was seriously injured in an instant. He retreated like crazy. Damn it, what's wrong with this woman? How can she be so strong? The other 3 half-saints of the Dragon Valley were also sent flying by the Crimson Dragon and the North Demon. The dragon claw in the sky was too terrifying. It was like the heavenly dragon's claw. On the other side, the green blade light was like an indestructible longevity blade. After it was shot out, its aura was continuous. In an instant, the 4 half-saints of the Dragon Valley were beaten until they screamed. Damn it, how can it be like this? The Saint of the Dragon Bone roared like crazy. He could not understand why these half-saints were so strong. Yes, it's that cave. They must have found a peerless treasure in the cave. These techniques were very strange. They were like magical laws. Capture these people. I must capture them. Do not let any of them go. The eyes of the Saint of the Dragon Valley turned red. Boom! Dark golden flames danced on his body. His body kept growing until he turned into a dark golden dragon. He spread his wings and covered the sky. He was extremely powerful. Roar! He opened his mouth and spat out endless dark golden flames. They turned into a golden storm that swept in all directions. The terrifying law of fire spread out. In an instant, the entire space collapsed. It could not withstand this power at all. Lin Xian used the Kunpeng movement technique and dodged quickly. He kept shuttling through the golden flames in the sky. Buzz! Suddenly, his body shuddered as a dark golden sky came crashing down on him. It was the other party's eyes. The other party's eyes were like 2 dark golden suns. They firmly locked onto him and imprisoned him. The Saint Domain instantly enveloped Lin Xian. Damn it, kid, melt for me! The dark golden flames were very terrifying. The old man's law and realm were also very terrifying. Therefore, under the Saint Domain, everything was turned to ashes. It would not be a problem for him to kill a first heaven saint, let alone the other party. Lin Xian was enveloped by the dark golden Saint Domain. Raging flames burned him. As expected, many cracks appeared on his body. It had to be said that the power of the other party's law was too strong. Even among the first heaven saints, it was extremely powerful. Kill! Lin Xian held the great destruction spear and roared. The 9 yang divine body continued to emit light. Dragon roars resounded through the sky. Chapter 3354. At this moment, Lin Xian's body seemed to have changed. He turned into a huge black fish that kept tumbling in the flames. Every tumble brought about a huge force. This was the same scene he saw when he was comprehending the Kunpeng movement technique. At that time, he saw a black fish tumbling in the Black Sea. Then, it soared into the sky and soared into the 9 heavens. This scene had a huge impact on him. Therefore, he transformed into the Kunpeng form. On his body, the fragments of the law of water kept dancing. As he tumbled, they created an unusually strong destructive force. After 9 tumbles, cracks appeared on the dark golden sacred domain. At the same time, Lin Xian's body suddenly bounced up and flew up quickly. It was like a kunpeng flying out of the sea and soaring into the 9 heavens. The momentum of this attack was simply too powerful. Lin Xian held the Great Destruction Spear and rushed up. Boom! The sacred domain was blasted open. Pfft! The Dragon Valley sage vomited blood. His huge body kept trembling. His face was full of horror. How could this be? How could his opponent break open his sacred domain? This was unbelievable. This person could go against the mortal world and attack a sage. A sage was an existence that transcended heaven and earth. They suppressed everything. Everyone below the sage was an ant. This saying was not wrong. But now, an ant could go against the heavens and attack a sage. It was unbelievable. In the next moment, he was scared out of his wits. This was because Lin Xian's speed soared again. It was unbelievably fast. Even he could not catch up. How could he be so fast? The Dragon Valley sage could only summon his sacred domain back to his side to defend and look for an opportunity to counterattack. To be honest, he had never been so aggrieved, especially in the hands of a half-saint. Lin Xian was getting more and more familiar with the use of the kunpeng movement technique. Therefore, his speed was getting faster and faster. At the same time, Lin Xian used his nomological mystique again. In the blink of an eye. It was too fast. He used it dozens of times in an instant. In the blink of an eye, the power of annihilation from all directions enveloped the Dragon Valley sage. The sages of the Dragon Valley tried their best to resist, but the power of the Great Destruction Spear and the Great Dragon Sword Soul was unstoppable. As a result, his dark golden flames were quickly extinguished, and the light on his body dimmed significantly. In the end, many cracks appeared on his body again. Blood flowed out from his enormous body, making him look exceptionally terrifying. Roar! Skyfire Flying Feather Saber. His 2 pairs of enormous wings transformed into extremely terrifying heavenly sabers that danced non-stop. It was a peerless saber technique that carried golden flames as it descended from the sky. This kind of saber technique was too violent and destructive. Countless saber lights, which were entwined with divine chains of laws, shot forward. Lin Xian executed the kunpeng movement technique and kept dodging. At the same time, a flaming lotus appeared on the Great Destruction Spear, spinning non-stop. Every rotation brought with it a soul-stirring destructive force, as if it could destroy everything in the world. It was the law divine ability, destructive flaming lotus. The flaming lotus flew out and collided with the golden saber light in the sky. Both of them had destructive auras, so when they collided, the underwater world within 1,000,000 miles instantly collapsed and spread in all directions. In an instant, the space within 50 million miles shattered and then spread to 70 million miles. It was chaos. In the distance, the other experts were swept away by a violent current before they knew what was going on. It was too terrifying. It was definitely the work of a sage. Run quickly. There were also some people who wanted to investigate what had happened. Immediately after, their bodies were torn apart by an even more terrifying destructive power. Not good. The Crimson Dragon, Yan Ryu, and the others were also shocked. They had just finished off the 4 half-sages of the Dragon Valley, and now they were in danger. It was over. This force was too terrifying. Ben Wang could not set up the heaven-crippling chessboard in time. 10,000 trees descended. The Northern Demon activated the body of 10,000 demons and executed a peerless divine ability. A huge heaven-reaching divine tree appeared in front of them, blocking all the energy. But soon many cracks appeared on the heaven-reaching divine tree, and it was about to shatter at any time. Damn it! It's so powerful! The Northern Demon's face turned pale. At this moment Yan Ryu stood up. She said, "Hide behind me." She formed a seal with her palms, and a layer of green light appeared on her body. It was getting stronger and stronger. A terrifying rune appeared between her eyebrows. It was extremely mysterious and terrifying. It blocked the destructive aura. The Northern Demon and the Crimson Dragon were behind her. They were surprised when they felt the power. especially the crimson dragon. This aura was too terrifying. Could it be that the thing in his body was that thing? Damn it. That was impossible. Yenryu activated the trump card in her body and blocked the destructive aura. Then, the three of them retreated in an orderly manner. The berserk energy in front of him was still ongoing. Immediately after, a dragon's roar could be heard. Junior, take my desolate dragon fist. There was an angry roar. Then, in the endless sea between heaven and earth, a dark golden fist lit up. It was too bright. Even from tens of millions of miles away, they could see that the fist was extremely powerful. It kept swinging, turning into fist shadows that filled the sky. Desolate Dragon Fist. Heavens, that was the ultimate skill of the Dragon Valley. The powerhouses in the distance were shocked when they heard it. Judging from the laws and power, it was definitely a sage. The sage of the Dragon Valley was attacking. Who was he attacking? Was it another sage? They didn't know, but they could imagine that the person who could fight against the sage of the Dragon Valley was definitely a sage. Boom! 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 The desolate dragon fist was too powerful. It contained a primordial power that could destroy everything. Even though Lin Xian had the Kunping movement technique, he was still forced to retreat. Boom! 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 In the end, hundreds of fist shadows enveloped him and hit his body, making thunderous sounds. Lin Xian kept retreating as the blood and qi in his body churned. However, the strength of the nine-yang divine body allowed him to forcefully block such a terrifying divine fist. Roar! The dragon sword spirit roared and let out an extremely terrifying dragon roar. It shook the desolate dragon fist. The people in the distance were stunned. What was going on? A dragon roar? Was it the sage of the Dragon Valley? It didn't look like it. They heard that the sage of the Dragon Valley didn't sound like this. Could it be that there were experts from the Dragon Valley? 2 experts from the Dragon Valley fighting against the enemy? No, could it be that the sage of the Dragon Valley was also a dragon? They were all stunned. Desolate Dragon Fist? Well, I'll let you see what I'm capable of. Lin Xian's black hair fluttered. He stepped on the ground and waved the great destruction spear in his hand crazily. The great dragon sword spirit roared incessantly. The surrounding seawater of the void ocean was stirred up by him. The seawater within tens of millions of miles gathered toward him. It formed the essence of water in his hand. I'll let you see the strongest weapon of the dragon race, the 10,000 Dragons portrait. The powerhouses in the distance were shocked when they heard it. Judging from the laws and power, it was definitely a sage. The sage of the Dragon Valley was attacking. Who was he attacking? Was it another sage? They didn't know, but they could imagine that the person who could fight against the sage of the Dragon Valley was definitely a sage. Boom! 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 The desolate dragon fist was too powerful. It contained a primordial power that could destroy everything. Even though Lin Xian had the Kunping movement technique, he was still forced to retreat. Boom! 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 In the end, hundreds of fist shadows enveloped him and hit his body, making thunderous sounds. Lin Xian kept retreating as the blood and qi in his body churned. However, the strength of the nine-yang divine body allowed him to forcefully block such a terrifying divine fist. Roar! The dragon sword spirit roared and let out an extremely terrifying dragon roar. It shook the desolate dragon fist. The people in the distance were stunned. What was going on? A dragon roar? Was it the sage of the Dragon Valley? It didn't look like it. They heard that the sage of the Dragon Valley didn't sound like this. Could it be that there were experts from the Dragon Valley? 2 experts from the Dragon Valley fighting against the enemy? No, could it be that the sage of the Dragon Valley was also a dragon? They were all stunned. Desolate Dragon Fist? Well, I'll let you see what I'm capable of. Lin Xian's black hair fluttered. He stepped on the ground and waved the great destruction spear in his hand crazily. The great dragon sword spirit roared incessantly. The surrounding seawater of the void ocean was stirred up by him. The seawater within tens of millions of miles gathered toward him. It formed the essence of water in his hand. I'll let you see the strongest weapon of the dragon race, the 10,000 Dragons portrait. 9 huge dragon shadows coiled around his body, and all the dragon heads gathered in his fist. Die for me! A terrifying fist blasted out. At the same time, on the other side, Lin Xian also pushed out the 10,000 dragons picture. Boom! Boom! Although it was just an evolved diagram, Lin Xian had seen the real 10,000 dragon diagram before. Coupled with the great dragon sword soul, it was unparalleled. Therefore, this attack was definitely beyond the imagination of a saint. When the 10,000 dragons picture attacked, the desolate dragon fist was immediately crushed by it. The dragon head roared and unleashed supreme laws, wanting to pierce through. However, they couldn't do it at all. The blue dragon seemed to carry the power of the entire void ocean. In an instant, the desolated dragon fist was suppressed. The 9 dragon heads were also completely sealed. Meanwhile, the blue 10,000 dragons illustration was still pushing toward the Saint of the Dragon Valley. How was this possible? How could it be so powerful? The Saint of the Dragon Valley was stunned. His dragon shocks the 9 heavens was shattered in an instant. He retreated crazily, but the 10,000 dragons illustration suddenly erupted with endless light, completely enveloping him. In the next moment, a shocking sound rang out. Thousands of dragon roars erupted at the same time. The entire bottom of the sea sank into darkness. No one dared to approach. Yan Ryu unleashed the green light on her body to the extreme. It seemed to have turned into a green lotus that completely enveloped them. They were like small boats in the raging storm, constantly tumbling about. However, the cyan light was extremely powerful. It actually managed to forcibly block the attack. This made the Crimson Dragon and the North Demon secretly heave a sigh of relief. It took a long time for the raging energy between heaven and earth to gradually dissipate. The figure of the Dragon Valley Saint appeared. His armor was shattered, and many parts of his body were pierced. Blood flowed. Dark golden blood dyed the surrounding seawater red. How was this possible? The saint's entire body was in pain, and his eyes were filled with disbelief. The attack just now was too powerful. If he hadn't activated his bloodline at the last moment, he would have been killed by now. He didn't die? The physique of the dragon tribe was indeed strong, Lin Xian said coldly. He was very surprised that this attack didn't kill the other party. But so what? The other party was already at the end of his rope. He could easily kill him next. Therefore, he held the great spear of destruction and walked forward with a cold expression. Tap, tap, tap. Lin Xian's footsteps echoed between heaven and earth like thunder. The Dragon Valley Saint's expression became uglier and uglier. Was he going to die at the hands of this junior today? He was unwilling to accept this. However, at this moment, the crisp sound of applause drifted over. Not bad, not bad. As expected of the successor of the 9 sons and the successor of the dragon tribe. He could actually beat a first heaven saint into such a sorry state. This is really an eye-opener. As soon as this voice came out, Lin Xian stopped in his tracks and frowned. The Dragon Valley Saint was also shocked. Was there someone else? Great. A glimmer of hope appeared in his eyes. There was indeed someone hiding here. I didn't expect you to appear at this time. Lin Xian looked into the distance. He had long felt uneasy, as if someone was watching him. However, he didn't dare to split himself too much in the battle with the Dragon Valley Saint, so he couldn't use his full strength to investigate. Oh, you actually knew of my existence in advance? Kid, since you know that I'm here, hurry up and kneel down and hand over all your treasures. A figure jumped out of the endless seawater. It was a middle-aged man wearing blue battle armor and carrying a blue spear on his back. The laws on his body were dancing, exuding a powerful force. A saint. Another saint. Moreover, what surprised Lin Xian was that the aura on this person was familiar. Could it be one of the 3 clones of the saints that he killed earlier? It seemed that the other party's main body was here. You're one of the 3 clones, right? How dare you come here? Haven't I killed enough of your clones? Since you dare to come here, you can stay here. Lin Xian's voice was cold as he said arrogantly. Kid, you're arrogant. I know that all geniuses are arrogant. It's normal for you to have such an attitude. But you're too confident. How dare you kill my clones? I'll torture you to death later. Also, do you think I came here by myself? Chapter 3356. Come out, you guys. How long are you going to hide? The saint in blue armor said coldly to the void. Hearing this, Lin Xian frowned. Yan Ryu and the others in the distance also changed their expressions. Oh no, could there be other saints? Hee hee, looks like you're quite sharp. You actually discovered our presence. I originally wanted to reap the benefits, but it seems like I can't do that. But forget it, this kid dared to kill my clone. I'll deal with him personally. Two more voices were heard. Following it, two sages walked out from the crowd. As soon as they appeared, a part of the sea was frozen. The entire space was filled with saint aura. Lin Xian also felt a great pressure on his body. It was as if 4 sacred mountains were pressing down on him. 2 more sages, and from the looks of it, they should be the true bodies of the 3 sages. One of the saints had 2 colors on his body, green and red. The red was the light of fire, but it seemed that the power of fire was suppressed in this void sea. So it wasn't very strong. The other green light was the power of wind. It was the law of wind. This person had comprehended 2 laws. The other person had a zither on his back. It was made of the tendons of a flood dragon and the bones of a tiger. From the looks of it, they should be related to the law of sound. The Wind Demon Saint, Tianyin Shangren, and Nehai Saint. The Dragon Valley Saint was shocked. He didn't expect 3 more saints to come. And it seemed that they were all here for the kid in front of him. It's over. 3 saints are attacking, and all of them are in a powerful state. The kid is definitely dead. However, he probably couldn't get the kid. In that case, he wouldn't be able to get the kid's secrets. No, damn it. It's fine if I don't know anything else, but I have to get the whereabouts of the 10,000 dragons diagram. The Dragon Valley Saint said hurriedly. The 3 of you, how about we work together to take him down? I know this kid has a lot of treasures and secrets, but I don't want them. I only want one. I want him to tell me the whereabouts of the 10,000 dragons diagram. Okay. The Wind Demon Saint smiled and nodded. If he only told them the whereabouts of the 10,000 dragons diagram, it wouldn't affect them. After all, the 10,000 dragons portrait was an extreme weapon of the Dragon Clan. The Heavenly Sound Saint looked at the Dragon Valley Saint and said indifferently, You don't have to do anything. Wait until the 3 of us catch that kid, and we'll tell you about the 10,000 dragon picture. How about that? From the looks of it, he was doing the Dragon Valley a favor. Thank you. However, since this kid dared to injure me so severely, I definitely want to do it myself. Don't worry, today's matter can be considered as a favor to the 3 of you. If I need help in the future, I will definitely return it. Alright, we can talk about these things after the battle. Let's deal with this kid first. The South Sea Saint pulled out the long spear on his back with a flip of his hand. Immediately, the surrounding seawaters surged along with him. It looked like the 4 sages were about to make a move. Lin Xian was surrounded by the 4 sages and felt an immense pressure. Fortunately, he had a divine body, and his physique was comparable to a saint's, so he was able to resist. Otherwise, any other half-saint would have collapsed long ago. Even so, he still felt pressured. After all, it was not a problem for him to kill one saint, but if 4 saints attacked together, it would be too troublesome. To be honest, with his current strength, he was still unable to fight 4 saints at the same time. Fighting 2 saints was already his limit. However, this time, it was not just him. Indeed, in the distance, Yan Ryu and the Crimson Dragon flew over. Oh, there were also companions. However, they were all half-saints, and would not be able to withstand a single blow. The South Sea Saint glanced at them and snorted in disdain. The other sages nodded in agreement. After all, not everyone could defeat someone of a higher level than Lin Xian and Yin Nantian. Ordinary saints, even the top half saints, could not be compared to them at all. Lin Xian looked at Yen Ryu and the others. Yen Ryu already knew what Lin Xian meant, so Yen Ryu said in a low voice, "I can help you block one." The Crimson Dragon said, "I can block one too. I have already set up the heaven-crippled chessboard. I am still unable to fight a saint alone, but I can help the Crimson Dragon and heal the three of you at the same time." The North Devil said in a low voice, "Okay, leave the Dragon Valley Saint and the other saints to me. You guys hold back the other two. When the time comes, we will kill them together." Lin Xian laughed. His black hair fluttered in the wind, and he was not afraid at all. As they spoke, the four of them assigned the tasks. The four saints opposite them were stunned. After hearing this, they all laughed out loud. What did these people say? These people can fight against us alone? What a joke! Lin Xian could fight saints above his level. They had seen it with their own eyes. But what about that woman and that dragon? Those two might be half-saints. What was even more despicable was that Lin Xian said that he could fight against two saints alone. What a joke! Even geniuses have their limits! Confidence was a good thing, but overconfidence would make one an idiot. What a bunch of ignorant ants! Did they really think that they were the chosen ones? Could they go against mortals and kill saints? Stop talking nonsense with them. Just kill them directly. Talking to such trash is a waste of time. Buzz. Among them, Heavenly Sound Sage clenched his fingers and flicked them out. Suddenly, a terrifying sound wave spread between heaven and earth. The sound wave was too strange and powerful. It was the law of sound. The North Devil and the Crimson Dragon felt the violent collision and many cracks appeared on their bodies. Yen Ryu shouted and the green light on her body surged. It turned into a green lotus and was held in her hand. Then, she swept it forward. Suddenly, the sound wave in the sky was blocked. Yen Ryu charged towards Heavenly Sound Sage. The immortal shadow that descended from the sky like a green lotus made Tianyin Sage's face change color instantly. He quickly retreated and dodged the attack. Then, his expression turned ugly. At the same time, the northern monster coldly shouted. He activated his 10,000 monster body and a heavenly tree appeared behind him. The two branches on the tree supported him and the dark red dragon, providing them with powerful recovery abilities. The cracks on his and the Crimson Dragon's bodies healed instantly. The Crimson Dragon roared and a black and white chessboard appeared in its hand. It threw it forward. In an instant, it enveloped Heavenly Sound Sage. "An array?" Blue Sea Sage sneered. He waved his spear and the law of the sea exploded. Terrifying seawater surged and hit the array, causing it to tremble. But it did not break. The black and white chess pieces on the heaven-crippling chessboard turned into streams of black and white chi and began to attack, surrounding him. "Humph, do you think Binhuang's array is so easy to break? I'll let you experience Binhuang's heaven-crippling chessboard." Chapter 3357. The Crimson Dragon was an expert, and he had obtained the heaven-crippling chessboard game. The heaven-crippling chessboard game that he had set up was too terrifying. It would definitely be able to trap a saint. In fact, it might even be able to slaughter a saint after a long period of time. On the other side, the Heavenly Sound Saint was also roaring. Terrifying sound waves swept across the 9 heavens and 10 lands, but there was nothing he could do. The green light on Yen Ryu's body was too strange. It suppressed everything. The green lotus in her hand had endless power. It was like a sacred weapon that posed a great threat to the Heavenly Sound Saint. For a moment, the two of them really stopped the two saints. The Northern Demon stood beside the Crimson Dragon, ready to help at any time. "How about it, you two? Now you believe that my companions have the strength to stop the saints?" Lin Xian sneered. On the other side, the Wind Demon Saint and the Dragon Valley Saint were stunned. To be honest, their minds were blank at this moment. What was going on? Apart from the kid in front of them, that woman and that dragon all had the combat power of a saint. It was unbelievable. When did so many geniuses of this level appear? There were so many geniuses in the past. The Abyss Leaderboard, the Vermilion Bird Leaderboard, and the top half-saints of the various stars were very famous. But now, it seemed that only Lin Xian and Yan Nantian could fight a saint. Other than them, perhaps the Great Demon was one, but Great Demon was already dead. The others, like Long Zhaotian and Zhao Wuliang, couldn't be compared to a saint no matter how strong they were. But now, there was a mysterious woman and a dragon who had the strength to go against the heavens and kill a saint. Moreover, these two were Lin Xian's companions. It was too shocking. I didn't expect you to have such a powerful companion. It's really beyond my expectations. The Wind Demon Saint spoke. But so what? Do you think you can stop us two sages by yourself? The law of wind on his body became stronger and stronger. His robe fluttered, bringing about a powerful storm. The next moment, his body suddenly disappeared. Buzz! In an instant, he appeared in front of Lin Xian. The powerful storm swept through the 9 heavens and blasted on Lin Xian, making crackling sounds. His aura was simply too powerful. Furthermore, his speed was simply too fast. It had reached the pinnacle of speed. He was even faster than the Dragon Valley Saint. Buzz! The Wind Demon Saint kicked out his right leg, stirring in the sky, and aimed to kill Lin Xian's heart. This kick stirred the wind, and could kick everything over. At the same time, the Dragon Valley Sage made his move as well. He struck out with the Desolation Dragon Fist once again. The dragon blood in his body surged as the power of his bloodline burst out. No matter how strong the saint was, they were confident that they could kill the opponent. The seawater around Lin Xian was torn apart, revealing his body. At the moment, he had suffered too many attacks. The power of the Desolation Dragon Fist, the Law of Fire, and the Law of Wind were all trying to pierce through him. "Get lost!" he roared into the sky. His voice was like thunder, and it rolled forward. At the same time, the Great Destruction Spear in his hand danced wildly. The Great Dragon Sword Spirit also roared. Boom! Boom! The Great Dragon Sword Spirit slammed into the desolate dragon spring, directly sending it flying. However, the storm god retreated and kicked Lin Xian's shoulder with all his might. Lin Xian was sent flying backward in an instant. His entire arm was numb, and the spear of destruction was almost sent flying. Kill! The two saints attacked again. Dragon Spring Fist and Storm God Kick. Their terrifying killing moves were fatal. Even a First Heaven Sage would probably be blown up by them. Lin Xian was in an extremely dangerous situation. Yenryu, the Crimson Dragon, and the others were anxious. However, the two of them were fighting a saint each, and couldn't attack at the same time. The Northern Demon was stunned. He couldn't keep up with their speed. Cracks appeared on Lin Xian's body after withstanding the mystiques of the two saints. However, his eyes were filled with a piercing killing intent. The Great Destruction Spear stirred again, and 2 Annihilation Fire Lotuses flew forward. The 2 Annihilation Fire Lotuses forced the two saints back. Bloody holes appeared on the Dragon Valley Saint's body again. The Wind Demon Saint was also torn open, and blood flowed out. "Damn it, how dare you hurt me? I'll kill you!" The two of them were completely enraged, especially the Wind Demon Saint, whose eyes were bloodshot. "Kill! Kill!" Lin Xian roared as well. The murderous aura on his body soared into the sky. Terrifying sword chi stirred up the surroundings. The Great Destruction Spear was even sharper. Instantly, the Dragon Valley Saint's heart was pierced. Golden blood splattered. Lin Xian's body and the Wind Demon Saint's feet cracked. However, Lin Xian endured the pain. Golden light appeared in his eyes. Soul stab. The Wind Demon Saint shrieked. Then, his fist turned into a big black fish and rushed over. It broke one of the Wind Demon Saint's legs. The battle was intense. Every move was accompanied by the power of laws. Lin Xian fought against two saints alone. Although he was at a disadvantage at first, he was gradually on par with them. In the end, Lin Xian felt his blood boiling. The Great Dragon Sword Spirit roared. Lin Xian's combat strength could continue to increase. The two saints were suppressed. However, more cracks appeared on Lin Xian's body. At this time, the northern demon also made his move. He controlled the myriad wood divine tree and began to provide Lin Xian with the law of wood. This greatly increased Lin Xian's recovery ability. Damn it, what's wrong with that kid? The Sky Sound Saint and the South Sea Saint were equally shocked. The two saints couldn't take down their opponent. This was too despicable. At the same time, they were even more shocked. Their opponent was able to trap them for such a long time. With the Annihilation Fire Lotus in his left hand and the Great Destruction in his right, he swept out. In an instant, the power of annihilation flew out. At the same time, Lin Xian seemed to have turned into a kunping, spinning in the sea. Each time, there was a terrifying power. The Dragon Valley Saint's body was torn apart by the Annihilation Fire Lotus. On the other side, the Wind Demon Saint's legs that had just recovered were turned into ashes again in an instant. Both of them screamed, but they didn't stop. The Dragon Valley Saint spat out a pearl. It was a dark golden pearl. The moment it was spat out, it emitted an unparalleled golden light that spread in all directions. Instantly, 13 cracks appeared on Lin Xian's body. Each crack revealed his bones. The Wind Demon Saint put his hands together. He struck out with the law of wind. Chapter 3358. The law of wind directly chopped off one of Lin Xian's arms. Lin Xian was also covered in blood, but he became more and more courageous as he fought. With just one hand, the Dragon Valley Saint exploded into pieces once again. On the other side, Lin Xian kicked out. His leg technique was even more terrifying than the Wind Demon Saint's. The ocean of millions of miles was controlled by him, directly splitting the Wind Demon Saint in half. Meanwhile, the flames on his body burned, evaporating all the surrounding seawater. Nirvana rebirth. Lin Xian was reborn from the flames, instantly becoming as good as new. Damn it, this is a law ability. The two saints' scalps went numb. They hurriedly consumed heavenly treasures to recover from their injuries. However, their recovery speed was far inferior to Lin Xian's. After Lin Xian recovered, he directly used the kunping movement technique and arrived in front of the Dragon Valley Saint. Die for me. The Great Destruction Spear and the power of the Dragon Sword Soul directly pierced through the Dragon Sword Soul. This time, there were many law fragments on the Dragon Sword Soul. It was as if it had transformed into a true dragon, constantly tearing the Dragon Valley Saint's body apart. He realized that the sword chi on it was too cold, and he couldn't heal it at all. Lin Xian used his eye technique to attack the Dragon Valley Saint's soul. Suddenly, Lin Xian's figure flashed and quickly dodged, but a bloody line appeared on his back. It turned out that the Wind Demon Saint had made his move. The Wind Demon Saint's legs became incomparably sharp. This attack was a fatal blow. Although Lin Xian had the kunping movement technique, he was still affected. However, this wasn't the most fatal blow. The most fatal blow landed on the Dragon Valley Saint's body. The Dragon Valley Saint screamed and was seriously injured. At this moment, Lin Xian erupted again, summoning the 10,000 Dragons picture and locking it on the Dragon Valley Saint's body. No! The Dragon Valley Saint screamed crazily. He was injured previously and had not fully recovered. In addition, the Wind Demon Saint had accidentally injured him, and now he had to face the 10,000 Dragons picture. He fled as if he had gone mad. The dragon blood in his body was burning. One! Lin Xian threw out the Great Destruction Spear, nailing him into the sea. Then, the 10,000 Dragons picture completely enveloped him. Tens of thousands of dragons attacked, roaring non-stop. The terrifying power caused the Dragon Valley Saint to cry out in pain. In the end, the Dragon Valley Saint was destroyed in both body and soul. Dead? The Saint of the Dragon Clan was dead. This scene caused the other three sages to be extremely shocked. Too scary. This person is really too scary. I have to get out of here quickly. You two, quickly break out and help me get rid of this brat. The Wind Demon Saint roared like a madman. Previously, When it was 2 against 1, he was no match for his opponent. Now that it was a one-on-one fight, he was very likely to be killed by his opponent. Hearing these words, the heavenly toned sage played her zither continuously. Terrifying sound waves and killing aura rushed out. Unfortunately, the azure lotus on Yenryu's body was too mysterious. It directly froze a part of the world and formed a special domain. It was as if the saint domain was invulnerable to all spells. On the other side, the heaven-crippling chessboard shook violently. The South Sea Saint was supported by the power of the void, so the law of water was abnormally violent. Even though the heaven-crippling chessboard was mysterious, the Crimson Dragon had not been comprehending it for too long. There were cracks on it. However, the Crimson Dragon took out a few sets of supreme killing formations and stacked them on top of each other, immediately making up for the gap between the cracks. For a moment, the South Sea Saint was blocked again. Damn it, how is this possible? I'm going crazy. Humph, do you really think Ben Huang is a pushover? Let me show you a few of Ben Huang's supreme abilities. The dragon blood on the Crimson Dragon surged, and mysterious blood-red patterns appeared, making him look extraordinarily mighty. With a roar, the boundless sea of void started to spin, forming a huge vortex. Within it, there were terrifying lightning bolts. The Dragon Clan's supreme ability, Thunder Lake. This was to turn a part of the world into a sea of lightning. The South Sea Saint's expression changed when he saw this. Damn it, how is this possible? He seemed to feel that the dragon's bloodline in front of him was even stronger than the ancient dragon saint. How is this possible? What is this? He was about to go crazy. The surrounding Thunder Lake quickly surged towards him, and the South Sea Saint fought back crazily. On the other side, the heavenly toned saint was also anxious. He had no choice but to use his supreme secret technique, the heavenly demon sound. His fingers flicked on the guqin, and the roars of dragons and tigers rang out. At the same time, what was even more terrifying was that endless illusions appeared around him. Those were the extraterritorial heavenly demons, which were extremely terrifying and could affect one's soul. Not good. Suddenly, Yenryu fell into a dangerous situation. Even Lin Xian frowned. He had heard of the power of the heavenly demons. He wanted to help, but he was blocked by the Wind Demon Saint. At this moment, in addition to the law of wind, the Wind Demon Saint also activated the law of fire. Although the law of fire was suppressed here, he could not care less. Flames filled the sky, and the terrifying power of wind and fire stirred. The other party's leg technique became even stronger than before, and its power multiplied. Lin Xian could not step forward for a moment, and the surrounding heavenly demons rushed towards Yenryu quickly. In an instant, they enveloped her. Humph, die. I, the heavenly demon, can even affect a second heaven saint, let alone a little girl like you. The heavenly toned saint revealed a sinister smile. This battle was over, and he could join forces with the Wind Demon Saint. However, he decided to get rid of the dragon first, and when the three saints attacked together, the other party would definitely die. Boom! Yenryu was enveloped by the endless heavenly demon illusions, and suddenly, she let out a shocked cry. An aura spread out from her body, and immediately, the heavenly demons in all directions fled crazily. It was as if they had seen a ghost. However, as soon as they fled, their bodies shattered instantly, and scattered in the sea like glass shards. Yenryu's aura was extremely strange at this moment, and her eyes were filled with green runes, which were extremely mysterious. The green lotus in her hand was even more terrifying, as if it had turned into a part of the world, and blasted forward. Suddenly, an extremely terrifying aura surged out, covering heaven and earth. The heavenly toned saint instantly knelt on the ground, his body trembling. His face was full of horror. What kind of aura was this? It was too terrifying. This aura had completely surpassed his? The heavenly demon zither in his hand actually broke into two halves with a crack. No! The heavenly toned saint screamed. The other party was too strange. This aura had completely surpassed his. It had even surpassed the third heaven saint. Could it be? There was something extremely terrifying in the other party's body. He wanted to escape, but a green light instantly streaked across his forehead. In the next moment, his body fell. Then, the body turned into ashes, and not even a drop of blood was left. Chapter 33:59. How was this possible? The Wind Demon Sage was stunned. The South Sea Sage was also trembling in fear. The Heavenly Sound Sage was dead, and in such a strange way. After all, this was the second sage that had fallen. Previously, they were also shocked by the death of the ancient dragon sage, but that was done by Lin Xian with his own strength. Because Lin Xian was also severely injured. If not for the law of fire rebirth, Lin Xian would probably be dead by now. But now, the Heavenly Sound Sage was different. She was killed in a single move by the other party. Her soul was destroyed, and even her sage blood was wiped out. It was easy to defeat a sage, but it was extremely difficult to kill one. A sage could be reborn from a single drop of blood. If not for Lin Xian having two great legacies and the offensive aura of the great dragon sword soul, it would be impossible to completely kill the Dragon Valley sage. But now, that mysterious woman had done it so easily. What was in her body? And that aura made their hair stand on end. They almost knelt on the ground just now. That attack had already surpassed the aura of a sage. Could it be? They did not dare to think further. This group of people in front of them was too strange. Hurry up and leave. The two of them wanted to escape immediately. Seeing this, the clear light in Yen Ryu's eyes surged again. But just as she raised her finger, she put it down weakly. Obviously, using that power just now was a huge burden on her. She would not be able to use that attack again in a short period of time. However, Lin Xian would not let the Wind Demon Sage escape. He used the Kunping movement technique and chased after him at extreme speed. He blocked the other party in an instant. Damn brat, get lost. The Wind Demon Sage was not in the mood to fight now. That woman might be weak now, but who knew if she would recover after eating some spiritual medicine? If he were to strike again, he would be instantly killed. He was not willing to bear the consequences. Therefore, he rushed towards Lin Xian like a madman. Flames of war raged. His legs moved, and a storm swept out. Flames filled the sky, completely shattering the void in front of him. Lin Xian brandished the Great Destruction Spear and used the 9-yang sword technique. In his left hand, he gathered 9 sea dragons, bit his fist, and punched out. Damn it, desolate dragon fist, how do you know it? The Wind Demon Sage was about to go crazy. This lad before him was just as bizarre. He was sent flying with a single punch, and his leg was broken. As expected, in a one-on-one fight, it was very difficult for him to be a match for the other party. After a few more punches, the Wind Demon Saint was smashed into pieces by the fists of Extreme Yang. But soon, the body of the Wind Demon Saint reformed as his face turned cold. Lad, you can defeat me, but it won't be that easy for you to kill me. Was it that easy? You're too naive. I've already killed 2 saints. Killing one more won't make any difference. You will be the 3rd saint that I have killed. What? He had killed 2 sages? Hearing this, the Wind Demon Saint's heart thumped wildly. How could this be? Wasn't Saint Longgu the only one who died? Although the Heavenly Note Sage was also dead, she was not killed by this brat. What did this kid mean? Could it be that he had killed a sage before? Thinking of this, the Wind Demon Saint felt his scalp go numb. But if he wanted to kill him, he would have to pay a price. Murderous aura rushed out of his body as terrifying wind and flames surged around him. At this moment, the Wind Demon Saint seemed to have transformed into a supreme immortal king as he turned around and attacked again. It seemed that he wanted to fight Lin Xian to the death. Because he knew that he could not escape. He could only fight with his back to the wall and get rid of the person in front of him as quickly as possible. Only then would he be able to escape. Good timing! Lin Xian shouted as he brandished the Great Destruction Spear in his hand and charged forward in large strides. With every step he took, the aura on his body became stronger. In the end, the weapon in his hand seemed to have transformed into a black dragon that kept roaring. Along with his sword technique, he swung it out. Boom! The Great Destruction spear landed on the other party's leg technique, making a loud sound. The endless light was so blinding that everyone could not open their eyes. However, to everyone's surprise, the Wind Demon Saint was sent flying. His leg was split open again. But at this moment, he was wearing a pair of green shoes that shone with unparalleled radiance. The power was even more terrifying than a half-step sacred tool. Although it was not comparable to a real sacred tool, its power was still unparalleled. Boom! Boom! The Wind Demon Saint made his move. The war boots on his feet quickly charged back. His combat strength was rapidly increasing. Kick after kick, it was as if mountains were flying out. It was so terrifying that it could make a saint of the same realm crumble. However, Lin Xian was simply too powerful. Especially when he was standing there, the blood in his body was boiling. The great dragon sword spirit was influenced by him as it let out a loud dragon roar. Its attack power was even more terrifying than the Wind Demon Saint's. The spear swept out, the aura it carried was enough to make people tremble. 9 suns opening sky. This strike seemed to have split the entire sky into 2 halves. With a pft, the Wind Demon Saint's body was split open. Lin Xian did not dodge, so the pair of green shoes hit him, causing cracks to appear on his body. However, he did not care. Because the Northern Demon was helping him recover from afar. He only needed to do his best to kill the enemy. As expected, he had the branches of the Universal Sacred Tree on him, providing him with strong vitality. He charged out again. Another 2 spears pierced the other party again. This time, the Wind Demon Saint was really mad. He realized that he could not heal himself this time. The sword chi on his body was too terrifying, and could not be erased. Another destruction fire lotus. The Great Destruction spear carried with it the power to destroy everything, tearing the other party's body into pieces. Next, in an instant, the remaining flesh of the other party began to disintegrate. Even the saint's blood was almost destroyed. Damn it! Seeing this, the Wind Demon Saint screamed like a madman. Everything happened too quickly, and he could not react at all. The other party's attack was too fierce, causing his body to shatter and his soul to escape. Want to escape? Can you escape? Lin Xian held the Great Destruction spear in his hand, and the great dragon sword's spirit coiled around it. This aura was enough to destroy everything. Even the soul of a saint could be destroyed. As expected, his attack penetrated the other party's soul. As he moved, the other party's soul was shattered. At the same time, he used the heavenly secret God Eye. The golden eye formed a vortex, igniting the shattered soul. Arg! A tragic cry rang out. In the end, the Wind Demon Saint's soul collapsed and was burned to ashes. Another saint had been killed. If there were other experts here, they would be scared out of their wits. Saints were above heaven and earth, and were very difficult to kill. But now, they were falling one after another. 3 sages had already fallen. Including the child sage from before, there were 4 sages now. The last one, the South Sea Saint, was so scared that his scalp went numb. He looked at Lin Xian, his body trembling. Was he still human? He was simply a god of death. Chapter 3360. South Sea Saint trembled. This was simply a killing god. It was so terrifying that he almost fainted. Lin Xian's nerves were cold, and his face was calm. He didn't seem to be affected much. He no longer had the excitement of killing for the first time. Therefore, after he dealt with Wind Demon Saint, he immediately turned his head and stared at South Sea Saint. South Sea Saint was so scared that his scalp went numb. He was the only one left, and the people around him were so powerful. Wait, don't kill me. South Sea Saint quickly begged for mercy. I was tricked into coming here by them. Please spare my life and I will never be your enemy again. Spare your life? Lin Xian walked over with a cold smile on his face. The Crimson Dragon also sneered. Why didn't you say that just now? Weren't you very powerful just now? You even wanted to kill us ants? Now you know how to beg for mercy? It's over. Let's see how I kill you. He activated the heaven-crippling chessboard. The terrifying black and white chess pieces turned into peerless killing intent. Damn it, I'll give it my all. South Sea Saint knew that he was in a dangerous situation, so he burned his life force in an instant. This method was similar to Lu Mu's. It could obtain powerful combat strength, but it would consume his lifespan. However, he couldn't care less. If he fought, there was still a chance of survival. If he didn't, he would probably be killed immediately. With a boom, after he obtained powerful strength, he blasted the heaven-crippling chessboard and fled into the distance. Where are you going? Lin Xian used the Kunpeng movement technique and rushed over quickly. He waved the Great Destruction Spear in his hand and turned into a black dragon. Everywhere it passed, the endless void was torn apart, and a terrifying vacuum zone appeared. Sword Chi rushed into the sky. South Sea Saint's scalp went numb. South Sea Saint used the law of water with all his strength. It stirred up the surrounding waters, forming terrifying whirlpools one after another to resist the Sword Chi. Stop, what do you want? I'll give it all to you. South Sea Saint ran and screamed crazily. Unfortunately, Lin Xian didn't care at all. Lin Xian kept waving the weapon in his hand, turning it into a black shadow that filled the sky. These sword chis were too terrifying. They pierced through all the seawater, and the water laws trembled from the impact. The South Sea Saint's expression was one of terror. He felt the other party's sword energy, and his entire body went cold. It was too terrifying. Were the Dragon Valley Saint and the Wind Demon Saint fighting against such beings? No wonder he was killed. There was nothing he could do about it. He could only burn his life force once more and resist like a madman. As for Lin Xian, he activated the Great Dragon Sword Spirit and once again fused with the Great Destruction Spear, causing a terrifying power to surge out. The Annihilation Fiery Lotus flew out. Its destructive aura could destroy everything in the world. Pung pung pung. The South Sea Saint was sent flying. He spat out large mouthfuls of blood, and a lot of blood appeared on his body. However, a trace of madness appeared in his eyes. You forced me to do this. At worst, we'll just die together. A blue bottle flew out from between his eyebrows. This bottle was very small, only the size of a thumb. However, it was indeed very exquisite, and there were many Dao runes on it. At this moment, under the South Sea Saint's control, it quickly grew in size, forming a blue bottle. If one looked carefully, they would find that although the blue bottle was exquisite, the mouth of the bottle was sealed. Dao runes intertwined, forming a seal that sealed it. An extremely terrifying aura was emitted from the sealed mouth. One could imagine that the thing that was sealed was definitely not ordinary. The seal was broken. The South Sea Saint roared. Immediately, the seal formed by the runes on it quickly disappeared. Then, an extremely cold aura flowed out. It caused the North Demon, the Crimson Dragon, and the others to tremble, revealing a trace of fear. Kid, be careful. This aura is too strange. The Crimson Dragon warned. Yen Ryu also frowned. The green aura on his body circulated again, and he was ready to attack at any time. Lin Xian's eyes burst out with a golden light. He stared at the blue bottle and saw that there seemed to be a black liquid flowing in the blue bottle. Black seawater? He frowned. This aura made him very uncomfortable. Therefore, he quickly attacked. He waved the great spear of destruction, and a terrifying sword chi flew out. Kid, have a taste of the moon blood. Ha ha. The South Sea Saint laughed arrogantly. He had gone crazy. At this moment, he threw out the blue bottle without holding back. Immediately, the black seawater in the bottle poured out. A terrifying aura filled the air as if an ancient monster beast had been resurrected. This aura caused everyone's expression to change. The Crimson Dragon screamed. What? Moon blood? Damn it, it's actually such a thing. Please don't let it touch you. This thing is very strange. After Lin Xian heard this, his 9-yang divine body bloomed with light, forming a terrifying domain that blocked everything. The sword light in his hand was even less. He also burned all the blood in his body. The great dragon sword soul roared as if it was injected with blood essence. It came to life, causing Lin Xian's combat strength to soar again. 9 suns split the sky. A ray of sword chi split the sky and the earth, splitting the black blood water in front of him into two. This sword directly sent the South Sea Saint flying. The bottle in his hand also fell to the side. The Crimson Dragon quickly controlled the heaven-crippling chessboard and attacked the bottle. The South Sea Saint roared. Damn it, he wanted to recall the heavenly Yin bottle again, but Lin Xian directly cut off his path. Another fierce battle ensued. However, in the end, the South Sea Saint was still swept away. His body was cut in half at the waist and his heart was shattered. His soul also hurriedly ran out. Damn kid, I won't forgive you. As soon as he finished speaking, his soul was penetrated. A sword chi took the shape of a dragon and firmly pierced his soul. Do you think I will give you a chance? Lin Xian's voice was cold. The great dragon sword soul erupted and directly destroyed the other party's soul. Dead. Another saint had died. The 4 saints who came were all killed. One of them was killed by Yan Ryu, and the other 3 all died at the hands of Lin Xian. If this news were to spread, it would definitely cause a huge commotion in the entire ancient path of the starry sky. Going against a mortal and killing a saint, this kind of battle was originally something that only the top geniuses could do. Moreover, it was already very difficult to defeat a saint. But now, Lin Xian had killed 3 saints in a row in one day. This kind of battle record was too dazzling and too shocking. After killing the South Sea Saint, Lin Xian also kept vomiting blood. His blood was golden, and at this moment, it was abnormally shocking. There were many more cracks on his body. Although rising from the ashes was powerful, using it too many times would also damage the bloodline and the body. Fortunately, he had a divine body. Otherwise, if it were any other bloodline, it would probably be a lamp that had run out of oil. Chapter 3361. The Northern Demon and the Crimson Dragon were not injured. On the other side, Yan Ryu also flew over. Her pale face was now rosy. She had not been injured in the battle with the sages. However, she had used more power than she could handle, so her body was a little weak. She could recover with a little rest. However, Lin Xian was different. Lin Xian had fought with the sages again and again. He had narrowly escaped death and was heavily injured. Although he had rising from the ashes, if he was not careful, his foundation would be damaged. If his foundation was damaged, it would be serious. It would affect his future path of martial arts. Therefore, the Crimson Dragon said, Kid, don't worry about anything now. Hurry up and recover. We'll protect you. Yan Ryu nodded. The Northern Demon said, I'll help you recover. As he spoke, he used the 10,000 demon body. His palms formed seals, and the law of wood danced. The heavenly tree floated behind Lin Xian. The leaves on the tree all covered Lin Xian. They shone with a green light and were crystal clear. That was an extremely strong life force. Lin Xian quickly sat down cross-legged. He swallowed the spiritual treasures and the pills he had refined. Then, he formed seals with his palms and absorbed the life force that the Northern Demon gave him. At the same time, he secretly used the immortality incantation and his own law of wood to quickly recover. Just like that, Lin Xian entered a state of recovery. Yan Ryu protected him, while the Northern Demon controlled the 10,000 wood divine tree. The Crimson Dragon farmer began to clean up the battlefield. 4 sages had died. Some of them had died without a corpse, while others had been torn apart. The Crimson Dragon took their treasures, storage rings, and everything else that could be used. The items of the sages were very useful to them. Therefore, he would not waste any of it. He even kept all the sages. He even obtained the heavenly Yin treasure bottle. He could not help but grin. 10 days later, Lin Xian opened his eyes. With the help of the northern demon and a large number of treasures, Lin Xian had completely recovered. There were no hidden injuries left. This way, he wouldn't have to worry about the problem of his foundation. You're finally awake. Yen Ryu heaved a sigh of relief. The northern goblin also took back the heaven-reaching divine tree. The crimson dragon said, Come, let's split the spoils. I've already divided the treasures of these 4 saints. Everyone had a share, so it was absolutely fair. The crimson dragon hugged the heavenly Aquarius and grinned. Lin Xian took a look. Indeed, it was pretty much the same. Other than the heavenly Aquarius, everything else was pretty fair. Lin Xian didn't object to this. Yen Ryu and North Yao didn't say anything either. This was because the sage's storage ring contained elixirs, cultivation techniques, weapons, and elixirs, which were all very useful to them. There were even some insights into the Great Tao. Let's go. It's about time we leave and explore other places, Lin Xian suggested. The others also rose into the air, and the group left once again. Void Ocean. Ever since these people came in, there had been fighting everywhere. However, it was extremely rare for Lin Xian's side to lose 4 saints at once. The other battles were also very tragic. The weakest among them was a half-saint. Countless half-saints had died here, and their blood had dyed the sea red. There was a place where the battle was very intense. This was because there was also a cave abode at the bottom of the sea. The battle in the cave at the bottom of the sea was also very tragic. There were about a dozen figures around. They were all injured, and their eyes were filled with fear as they stared ahead. There were also a dozen corpses on the ground around them. Each of them had died very miserably. A figure stood in front of these people. It was a man with a tall and sturdy figure. The phantoms of the 4 divine beasts appeared on his body. There were also terrifying emperor runes flickering on his body. Yan Nantian. Yes, it was him. Yan Nantian, you're too arrogant. That cave abode is so big. Why do you want to take it all for yourself? That's right. Can't you share some with us? The other half-saints roared like they had gone mad. Among them, there was a saint. This saint's face was also cold. Yan Nantian, you won't even let me in? To be honest, he was really mad. It was fine if these half-saints couldn't enter because they were all ants in his eyes. But what was he? He was a saint who had transcended heaven and earth. How could the other party not even let him in? Other than Yan Nantian, no one here had entered the cave abode. The other party was too arrogant. Did he really think that he could show off in front of a saint just because he was the successor of a great emperor? You can force your way in, but the price is death. If you don't believe me, you can try. Yan Nantian's voice was as cold as ever as he faced the saint. There was even a strong sense of threat in his voice. A saint? He was very powerful, but he was nothing in front of Yan Nantian. He was the successor of a great emperor. Although he was only a half-saint, he definitely had the strength to kill a saint. Fine, I'll see what's so special about you as the successor of a great emperor. That sage rushed over quickly, and a terrifying law rushed out. Since you want to die, I'll fulfill your wish. Lin Fan thought to himself. Yan Nantian's eyes also burst with a piercing light. Ever since the Battle of the Vermilion Bird List, he had been in seclusion, and his strength had improved recently. Moreover, he had obtained some treasures in the Void Ocean, so he didn't care about facing a saint at all. At the end of the battle, the saint fled miserably, but Yan Nantian wouldn't let him leave. I've said it before. There's only one outcome for those who dare to provoke me, and that's death. Sky-destroying finger. With the point of his finger, the saint's body was torn into pieces, and only his soul escaped. Stay here. Sun and moon split open the sky. A terrifying scene appeared. Like a millstone that could destroy the world, the saint's soul was obliterated. The saint's body fell, shocking everyone. The surrounding half-saints were all stunned. They couldn't believe it at all. What happened in front of them? How could a saint die just like that? Heavens, had Yan Nantian broken through to the saint realm? No, he was still using the nomological fragments, but he already had the strength to kill a saint. Damn it, these people retreated crazily. Although the previous battle was tragic, they still had hope. However, how could they fight now? Even a saint was no match for Yen Nantian. Run, run quickly. Someone finally couldn't help but break down and flee crazily. As soon as he fled, the surrounding people also fled. For a time, only corpses were left except for Yen Nantian. Humph, a bunch of ants. Yen Nantian sneered, then entered the cave below. A few days later, he came out with a smug look on his face. With one palm strike, the underwater world below was smashed into pieces. Countless cracks appeared on the huge rocks and swallowed up the cave. Not long after Yen Nantian left, another group of people arrived. The aura of this group of people was also incomparably powerful. The leader was a young man. The robe on his body was very strange. It was as if a starry sky was draped over his body, shining with a demonic light. Chapter 3362. They were from the Sikong family. After they arrived, they looked at the people around them and said that there was a tragic battle around them. Wait, this is the corpse of a saint. They made a shocking discovery. Who was it that could kill even a sage? Who was the opponent? It was probably a powerful sect, but they didn't know which faction it belonged to. There should be treasures here. Hurry up and find them. They searched like crazy. There was a cave here, but it was covered by stones, but we still found it. They blasted the rocks away, revealing the cave at the bottom of the sea. However, they found that they couldn't enter. Damn it! We can't force our way into the cave left behind by a saint. It seems that we can only look for the key. But that person must have already entered and taken the treasure. Forget it, let's find something else. The people from the Sikong family rose into the air and quickly left. A few days later, 4 figures appeared again. It was Lin Xian and the others. They looked at the battle around them and frowned. The Crimson Dragon said that a saint had fallen. I wonder who did it. They went down to take a look around and found the cave abode. However, they couldn't enter the cave abode. Let's go and look for other opportunities. The Crimson Dragon and the others said. Lin Xian frowned and sensed carefully. Then he snorted. Yen Nantian did it. I sensed his aura. There was the aura of Emperor Runes and the sky-destroying finger. What? Yen Nantian. Damn it, I wonder how many saints the Vermilion Bird Palace sent this time. However, Lin Xian said that it was probably Yen Nantian who did it himself. He should have the strength to kill a saint. However, what did he obtain in this cave? Kid, be careful. Yen Nantian is not simple. He was only ranked 4th on the Abyss leaderboard. However, he improved by leaps and bounds in a few years and reached such an unbelievable level. Don't forget that he has the inheritance of a great emperor and the full support of the Vermilion Bird Palace. His strength is increasing every day. He's definitely not weaker than you. Don't be careless. Don't worry. If I can kill him once, I can kill him a second time. I wonder how many monarch regeneration talismans this guy has? Even if he was the successor of a great emperor, he wouldn't have much of it. Yen Ryu also opened her red lips slightly. It would be great if he could meet him in the void ocean. Even if he couldn't kill him, he could use up all the great emperor regeneration talismans in his hands. Lin Xian nodded, then waved his hand, and the group left again. The void ocean was extremely vast, and it was filled with dangers. In addition to the fights between the foreign experts, there were also some who died in the mouths of the terrifying sea demons. There were even some who didn't know what was good for them, and ended up barging into Saint Seahorse's resting area. A single roar from Saint Seahorse instantly wiped out the dozen or so half-saints. Since then, that place had become a forbidden area. Everyone else had to take a detour around it. Deep in the sea, in the deep blue sea, a group of people quickly appeared. There weren't many of them, only 6 in total. Moreover, they were all very young. The leader of the group had a burly figure and a sharp gaze. It was as if he didn't put the world in his eyes. These people were the experts of the Eight-Wind Palace. The Eight-Wind Palace wasn't any weaker than the Vermilion Bird Palace. The leader of the group was a top young genius from the Eight-Wind Palace. His name was Huang Jiao. At this moment, Huang Jiao and the others had also arrived at the deep blue sea. They immediately became vigilant. This was because the sea water here was much bluer than other places. Moreover, the heavy pressure was even more terrifying. Be careful. There might be some terrifying sea demons hiding here, Huang Jiao warned. The disciples of the Eight-Wind Palace were also on high alert. The armor on their bodies flickered. They continued to move forward. Suddenly, they stopped in front of an underwater canyon. This was because they saw a figure standing in front of them. He was like an emperor, and he emitted a powerful aura. Even Huang Jiao frowned. Yan Nantian. He was shocked. The people of the Eight-Wind Palace narrowed their eyes. Their hearts were in their mouths. These were the most powerful people of the younger generation. Yan Nantian, the successor of a great emperor. They had only heard of him before. Now, they finally saw him in person. To be honest, they didn't know Yan Nantian before. However, the 9 great emperor marks on Yan Nantian's body were too dazzling. The oppressive energy was so powerful that they could recognize him at a glance. Seeing that there were people behind him, Yan Nantian turned his head. His eyes were like stars as they swept across them. Other than Huang Jiao, the other experts of the Eight-Wind Palace behind him felt their scalps go numb. The people of the Eight-Wind Palace. A faint smile appeared on Yan Nantian's face. Seeing the smile on his face, the people of the Eight-Wind Palace became nervous. Would Yan Nantian attack them? It would be difficult for them to resist. Huang Jiao also said that since you're here, we'll look for you elsewhere. However, Yan Nantian said, "There's no need. I've already searched this place. There's nothing to miss. If you want to search, go ahead." After saying that, his body swayed. The Emperor Marks carried him and flew into the distance. He left. The people of the Eight-Wind Palace were stunned. They didn't expect that he didn't attack them. Could it be that there were really no treasures here? However, Huang Jiao said, "That's not necessarily true. Although Yan Nantian is powerful, he's still of the younger generation. There might be times when he makes a mistake. This sea is obviously different from other places. So, we'd better search carefully." These people began to spread out and search. At the same time, a few more people came from the deep blue sea. Among them, Lin Xian and the others came as well. When they saw that the blue sea was different, they became interested. Most importantly, Little White in Yan Ryu's arms. Its big black gem-like eyes were blinking. It sensed the aura of a treasure in front of it. Hearing that there was a treasure, everyone became interested. Little White was an expert at finding treasures. Yan Ryu smiled and took out many top-grade spirit fruits from the storage room and stuffed them into Little White's hands. While eating, Little White pointed the way for everyone. However, after walking for a long time, everyone frowned. This deep blue sea was too strange. There didn't seem to be any demonic beasts, and marine plants were useless. Was there really a treasure here? The Crimson Dragon also thought. "Kid, this place is too strange. Could there be a saint-level sea monster hidden here? After all, other sea monsters wouldn't dare to come to the territory of a saint." Indeed, along the way, they were attacked by sea monsters everywhere they passed, but they didn't encounter any here. That didn't make them puzzled. They looked at Little White. "Hey, no, big stupid dragon, there's no sea monster. Go down and take a look." Little White pointed at the bottom of the sea. Chapter 3363. The Low? The Dark Rainbow Divine Dragon said. "Little guy, did you secretly drink the spiritual wine these 2 days and become stupid? There's nothing below." On the other hand, Lin Xian's heart stirred as he floated downwards. This was because he could sense that the few Tao stones he had obtained had undergone a strange change. They were even more resplendent than before. Suddenly, Lin Xian remembered the whereabouts of the water Tao stone. He came to the Void Sea for 2 purposes. The first was to help the Langya star obtain the statue of the great sage. The second was to find the water Tao stone. However, he seemed to have almost forgotten about this matter during the continuous battle with the great sage. However, now that he saw the changes in the other Tao stones, Lin Xian remembered the information that the Langya star had given him. The Tao stone was nearby. Therefore, he was wild with joy. "What's wrong, kid? What did you find?" the Crimson Dragon asked. Yan Ruyu and the North Demon also had puzzled expressions. Lin Xian said to them, "The water Tao stone I want should be nearby. Help me find it." "What? It's nearby?" When the three of them heard this, they also helped to search. Lin Xian followed the information that the Langya star had given him and combined it with the reaction of the Tao stone in his hand. Therefore, he quickly descended. Finally, she arrived at a place. With a burst of strength, the earth immediately began to rumble and tremble, and a large crack was created by her strike. The dark blue sea water shook violently. It formed a whirlpool, and a cave abode appeared in the middle of the whirlpool. A terrifying aura of water came from the cave abode. Lin Xian's eyes lit up. He knew that the water Tao stone should be inside. He found it. He let out a low cry. The Crimson Dragon and the other two also quickly rushed over. They looked at the blue cave abode in front of them, their eyes flickering. What a magical aura! At the entrance of the cave abode, there was a ball of blue water that seemed to be sealed. Lin Xian directly waved his sword energy and slashed forward. This attack caused the entire deep blue sea to shake. However, Lin Xian didn't care about anything. He quickly waved his sword a few times, and on the sixth strike, he split open the blue seal. Then, the few of them quickly rushed in. The vibration of the deep blue sea region naturally attracted the attention of many people. Among them, the faces of the people from the Eight-Wind Palace changed. There was a vibration. Could it be that a treasure had appeared? Huan Jiu's eyes shone with an extremely cold light that shot out in all directions. "Over there. Follow me." With a wave of his hand, he led the experts of the Eight-Wind Hall and flew over quickly. Lin Xian and his group entered the cave and discovered that there was a blue water platform inside. It was completely formed by the condensation of seawater. On top of it was a fist-sized crystal. The crystal was sparkling and translucent. It was ocean blue in color and had countless Tao patterns on it. Those were natural Tao patterns. Water Tao stone. Lin Xian's eyes burned with passion. "Great, I finally found it." Lin Xian was too excited. After finding the water Tao stone, the 5 elements Tao stone in his hand would be complete. At the thought of this, he stretched out a golden hand and grabbed in front of him. Buzz, buzz, buzz. The Tao patterns in the surroundings reacted and quickly attacked, blocking Lin Xian's huge hand. However, Lin Xian didn't care. If he wanted to take the treasure, there was nothing that could stop him. However, at this moment, the Crimson Dragon exclaimed, "Oh no, someone is coming. Kid, if you want to take the treasure, we'll help you stop them." The Northern Demon, Yan Ryu, and the Crimson Dragon turned around and stood in front of Lin Xian to protect him. Indeed, not long after, many figures flashed near the cave. Among them, a group of figures was extremely powerful and directly stepped in. After that group of people entered, it caused the world to shake. Many people were sent flying. There was indeed a treasure. After those people entered, they looked around and then stared straight ahead. That aura, that was the Tao stone. They were too excited. They didn't expect that there would be a Tao stone here. The Tao stone was the Tao stone of heaven and earth. Even saints would be jealous of it, let alone them. However, soon, the people of the Eight-Direction Palace roared. "Damn it, stop!" They realized that a figure was using all his strength to break the surrounding Tao patterns, trying to take it by force. Suddenly, 2 disciples of the Eight-Direction Palace rushed out. Eight-Direction Fist. They threw out terrifying punches. These people of the Eight-Direction Palace were very powerful. Moreover, the Eight-Direction Fist carried an aura that looked down on the world. Their arms were like giant dragons, carrying a powerful force. With a single strike, the surrounding space was shattered. Two terrifying fists blasted forward. Humph! The Crimson Dragon sneered and waved the Heavenly Dragon Divine Claw, which turned into countless dragon claws and clawed forward. Shocking collision sounds and screams were heard. The two eight-direction fists were shattered. The two eight-direction palace elites groaned as their arms bled and they retreated. Damn it! The faces of the people of the eight-direction palace changed. Even Huangjiu frowned. Which faction are you from? Get lost if you don't want to die. His voice was like 1,000 claps of thunder, causing the blood of the people around the cave to boil. Sung Tian was from the eight-direction palace. Originally, the people around wanted to enter, but now they hesitated. The eight-direction palace was very powerful. Moreover, they recognized that the leader was the top genius of the eight-direction palace, Huangjiu. Such a person was very powerful. It would be difficult for them to fight against him. Therefore, they lingered around the entrance of the cave and didn't enter directly. Get lost! The Crimson Dragon roared. The dragon's roar reverberated through the world. Instantly, the blood of the people in the desolate hall boiled. The people outside the cave were scared silly. A dragon's roar, Sung Tianya. Are they from the dragon tribe? Could they be from the Dragon Valley? As expected, Huangjiu frowned. Are you from the Dragon Valley? He stared at the Crimson Dragon. The Crimson Dragon didn't deny it. Because it was very useful to use the tiger's skin now. Therefore, he snorted coldly. Since you know, why don't you get lost? At this point, the dragon blood in his body boiled even more. Humph, so what if you're from the Dragon Valley? The eight-direction palace isn't afraid. Huangjiu snorted coldly. A cold light flashed in his eyes. Although the dragon tribe was powerful, the eight-direction palace wasn't afraid. In the eight-direction palace, only I am supreme. The fact that the eight-direction palace was called that meant that they were very powerful. Buzz Huangjiu attacked. The eight-direction palm. His palm pushed out. A terrifying power swept in all directions. Everyone's blood froze. It was too terrifying. Huangjiu was indeed terrifying. The people outside the cave were terrified. The Crimson Dragon snorted coldly and was about to attack. However, the Northern Demon was faster than him. He struck out with his palm. A green light flashed like lightning from the sky and blocked the opponent's palm. The two collided in the sky. The power swept in all directions. After the attack, the Northern Demon retracted his palm. Huangjiu's face darkened. Damn it, who is this person? How can he be compared to me? When did the Dragon Valley have so many experts? Chapter 3364. Huangjiu's face was incomparably cold. However, at that moment, a sneer came from outside the cave. They're not from Dragon Valley, so you don't have to worry about anything. Just kill them. Yen Ryu and the others' faces changed, while the people outside exclaimed. They all stepped aside to make a path. Then, a figure walked over like an emperor. The members of the eight desolate hall also turned their heads to look. In the next moment, they screamed. Huangjiu frowned. He didn't expect Yan Nantian to come back. Could it be that he didn't leave? However, what shocked him even more was that these people weren't from Dragon Valley. But just now, he clearly felt the dragon blood and the aura of the dragon clan. I can guarantee that they're not from Dragon Bone. Yan Nantian glanced at Huangjiu, then looked forward. His gaze swept across the Crimson Dragon and the others, then stared at the figure in front of him who was snatching the Dao Stone. His eyes were filled with killing intent. I've finally found you. Not good. Crimson Shinong and the others' faces changed. They didn't expect to meet Yan Nantian under such circumstances. However, at that moment, Lin Xian, who was snatching the Dao Stone, said, I'll be able to snatch it in half an incense's time. Then, I'll take his life. Hearing this, the people from Eight Wind Palace and the others' faces changed. Who was this person? He was so arrogant that he dared to take Yan Nantian's life. Huangjiu seemed to have thought of someone, but before he could think about it, Yan Nantian said, I'll kill the person in front. You bring people to help me stop them. Once it's done, the Tao stone will belong to you. I don't want anything. How about it? I can stop two at most. Huang Jiu thought about it and said. Indeed, he had seen the strength of the Crimson Dragon and the North Devil. He believed that the beautiful woman in the middle wouldn't be weak either. Two of them were enough. The rest of them were no match for me. After saying that, Yan Nantian made his move. The 4 divine beast phantoms and 9 emperor patterns rushed out and flew forward. Wherever they passed, nothing could stop them. Courting death. The Crimson Dragon roared and attacked with the Heavenly Dragon Divine Claw. The North Yao also sent out one longevity blade beam after another. Boom! A violent explosion sounded, and both of them took a few steps back. Their arms were numb from the impact. Wow, this guy's strength is too terrifying. The Crimson Dragon frowned. Even with the two of them working together, they were still sent flying. At this moment Yen Ryu spoke. Leave him to me, you guys deal with the other people from the 8 desolate palace. A green light rose from her body, and an extremely terrifying power burst forth, directly blocking Yan Nanshan's path. On the other side, the people of the desolate 9 Greats 8 Wind Hall also rushed over, wanting to break through the encirclement. However, he was stopped by the Crimson Dragon. For a moment, the two sides began to fight. Yan Nantian frowned and looked at Yen Ryu in front of him. His expression was gloomy. Go away, this has nothing to do with you. He originally disdained Yen Ryu, but after meeting her a few times, he realized that this woman was not simple. The other party seemed to have grasped some kind of terrifying power. Especially now, the green aura on the other party's body made his hair stand on end. However, he still had to make a move. Even if his opponent had a trump card, could he defeat him? He was the successor of a great emperor. At the thought of this, he pointed his finger forward. Sky-destroying finger. With a point of finger, everything was destroyed. Sky Frost Palm. Yen Ryu's palm was enveloped by a green light. She pushed out, and countless ice rose, trying to freeze the other party's finger. An earth-shattering explosion sounded, and the violent power in the entire cave lit up the surrounding Dao runes. The martial artists who were watching the battle outside were directly sent flying. It was too terrifying. So many experts were attacking together? They retreated crazily, hiding in the distance and watching secretly. The battle was extremely shocking. The people of the 8 desolate palace roared, and the more they fought, the more frightened they became. The two people in front of them were too powerful. Even Huang Jiu was beaten until he vomited blood, not to mention the other people of the 8 desolate palace. The battle between Yen Ryu and Yan Nantian was even more intense. In the battle, Yan Nantian displayed the lightning god's physique. His speed and power became incomparably violent, and the sun and moon split open the sky, shattering all the surrounding ice. He was extremely powerful, like a reborn great emperor, and sent Yen Ryu flying. Yen Ryu's face was pale, but she glanced at Lin Xian, who was deciphering the Dao runes. Then, a shocking rune burst out from her eyes. Then, an extremely terrifying power burst out. In her hand, a green lotus appeared. She held it, and then threw it forward. With a swoosh, the terrifying attack was all sent flying. Yan Nantian was hit by the green light and was sent flying, spitting out a mouthful of blood. This scene was too shocking. Huang Jiu and the people of the 8 desolate palace, who had been fighting, all stopped. When they saw this scene, their faces were filled with horror, and they quickly retreated. Damn it, what was wrong with this woman? How could she send Yan Nantian flying? Yan Nantian was someone who could kill a saint. Didn't this mean that this woman had the combat strength of a saint? Thinking of this, their scalps turned cold. Fortunately, Yan Nantian was here. Otherwise, they would have been killed by now. Damn it! Yan Nantian also stood up, wiping the blood from the corner of his mouth. His face was extremely ugly. He didn't expect that other than Lin Xian, there was someone who could injure him, and this person wasn't even a saint. You really hid your strength well. Yan Nantian stared fixedly at Yen Ryu, especially at the lotus in her hand. Her combat strength was too strong, definitely not weaker than his, but before this, she didn't show it at all. Although she was also a genius, compared to his and Lin Xian's reputation, she was indeed much worse. However, he didn't expect that her strength was not inferior to theirs at all. Why did she hide it? If it weren't for the fact that Lin Xian couldn't fight now, he probably still didn't know how terrifying Yen Ryu was. Since that was the case, he would play with her seriously. Yan Nantian's eyes were cold. He took out the vermilion bird divine feather, enlarged it, and turned it into a flaming divine sword. Then he slashed out. Boom, boom, boom. This sword was extremely terrifying. It was as if a vermilion bird had been resurrected, and the terrifying aura made it hard for everyone to breathe. The biting cold sword she slashed forward, as if it could split everything in half. The Crimson Dragon and the North Demon both frowned. The people of the yellow heron were trembling in fear. Boom! Yen Ryu snorted coldly, waving the green lotus in her hand quickly. The lotus flower gave off a hazy radiance. It lost a portion of its radiance, and flew out like a sword chi. Chapter 3365. The two of them clashed again, but not long after, Yan Nantian was sent flying again. He was furious. You forced me to do this. Since you want to die, I'll fulfill your wish. Yan Nantian was really angry. This was his best chance to kill Lin Xian, and he couldn't let it go. Therefore, he didn't hesitate to use his ultimate skill. The sky-destroying finger was countered by the 9 Emperor runes. Then, the 9 Emperor runes in the sky combined to form a starry sky. Then, a pagoda flew out from the starry sky. When the pagoda appeared, large cracks appeared in all directions. The people of the 8-Wind Hall knelt on the ground, trembling. Even Huang Jiao's face turned pale. He didn't have the strength to resist at all. Oh no, the hidden immortal pagoda's illusion! This guy was really a lunatic. The Crimson Dragon cursed. Only Lin Xian with his great dragon sword soul would be able to block such an illusion. They couldn't block it at all. He wondered if Yen Ryu would be able to block it. The two of them looked at Yen Ryu. Her face was a little pale. Obviously, she couldn't bear using some of her power. However, when she saw the illusion of the hidden immortal pagoda, she seemed to have made a decision. You two, get behind me. I'm going to activate it. At this point, the green light on Yen Ryu's body became thicker. Extremely terrifying and mysterious runes appeared in her eyes. Suddenly, a hazy figure appeared on her body. Then, she waved the green lotus in her hand and blasted it forward. It swept over fiercely. Boom! 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 The hidden immortal pagoda, the mysterious green figure, and the green lotus collided, and a chaotic light burst out. The entire cave dwelling was torn apart and collapsed instantly. The people of the 8-Wind Hall were also sent flying, vomiting blood. A few of them were directly killed and turned into a bloody mist. Everyone thought that nothing could block the illusion of the hidden immortal pagoda. However, this scene surprised them. The hidden immortal pagoda was blocked in front of them. How was this possible? Huang Jiao and the people who were watching in the dark all screamed. Yan Nantian's pupils shrank, and his face was full of shock. Someone else blocked his hidden immortal pagoda. This was simply too unbelievable. Lin Xian relied on the great dragon sword soul. What did the woman in front of him rely on? Why did he feel that the green figure and the green lotus on the other party's body gave him a fatal sense of danger? It was as if he was facing the hidden immortal pagoda. Could it be? Yan Nantian thought of a possibility, but he quickly shook his head. Impossible, he didn't even get that kind of thing. Not to mention the woman in front of him. In the sky, the two powerful phantoms gradually disappeared. The terrifying aura was still surging, and no one dared to approach. Yan Nantian did not attack again. Even the welcome of the hidden immortal pagoda could not do anything to the other party. He reckoned that continuing to fight would be futile. Yan Nantian didn't expect something like this to happen today. he was prepared to stop and look for another opportunity. He turned to leave. However, at this moment, a cold voice rang out. You want to leave? Did I allow you to leave? When this voice came out, Huang Jiao and the others sucked in a breath of cold air. Yan Ryu and the others revealed a smile. Great, this was Lin Xian's voice. Lin Xian was now able to speak, which meant that he had succeeded in obtaining the treasure. Sure enough, they turned to look. In front of them, the water Dao stone was held in Lin Xian's hand, and then he put it away. Damn it, you dare to stop me? Yan Nantian turned his head, and a terrifying killing intent erupted from his eyes. Why wouldn't I dare? Not only will I stop you, but I will also kill you. Lin Xian walked to Yan Ryu's side, took out a bottle of spirit medicine, and let her consume it. He knew that Yan Ryu had a powerful trump card, but this power could not be used easily. Once it was used, Yan Ryu would fall into a weakened state. Sure enough, the current Yan Ryu's face was pale without a trace of blood. Don't worry, leave the rest to me, Lin Xian said softly, and then walked up. Yan Ryu nodded. Looking at the other party's back, she felt very at ease. Yan Nantian, I didn't expect you to be so reckless. I originally wanted to find you, but you actually delivered yourself to me. Since that's the case, don't blame me for being impolite. Lin Xian pulled out the Great Destruction Spear, and an extremely terrifying and fierce aura spread out. That was the Great Destruction Spear. He was Lin Woody. A scream rang out. After hearing this, the people from Eight Wind Palace felt their scalps go numb, and they were about to faint from fright. Lin Woody, the person in front of them, was the first on the Vermilion Bird list, the powerful existence who defeated Yan Nantian. Previously, they had actually wanted to make a move against such a person. Thinking of this, they felt a lingering fear, and their bodies were drenched in cold sweat. Fortunately, Yan Nantian had come midway, otherwise they would probably be dead by now. Kid, my strength has increased greatly now, so I'm not afraid of you. If you have the ability, don't let that woman make a move. Let's fight alone. Yan Nantian was now very afraid of Yan Ryu. Lin Xian smiled. Don't worry, they won't make a move when we fight. However, I'm curious, where did you get the confidence to fight against me now? I've killed you more than once. If you didn't have the Emperor Regeneration Talisman, you would have been killed by now. I want to see how many of them you have in your hands, Lin Xian said as he pushed the Great Destruction Spear. Terrifying sword chi flew out, and each of them was extremely shocking, as if they were struck by lightning. In an instant, the area in front of them was drowned by countless sword chi, forming a chaotic scene. In the distance, Huang Jiao and the others were terrified. The sword chi was too terrifying. Even though they were so far away, the power of the sword chi made their hearts tremble. They probably couldn't block even one of them. Humph! Yan Nantian snorted coldly, and his face darkened. The 4 seraphic speed phantoms suddenly expanded, as if they had turned into 4 divine mountains, surrounding him and suppressing everything. They blocked the terrifying sword chi. The defense was extremely strong, and it carried a heavy force that suppressed everyone until they couldn't breathe. Even the North Demon and the Crimson Dragon's expressions changed drastically. Damn it, compared to half a year ago, the other party's strength was much stronger. Yan Nantian's improvement speed was too fast. The 4 divine beasts collided with the endless sword chi, piercing through everything. I've said it before, the current me is no longer the same as before. I lost to you back then, but I definitely won't lose again. Yan Nantian took a step forward, and the 4 divine beasts on his body roared at the sky. He took out the Saint Chariot, stood on it, and charged over. Everywhere he passed, the sword chi was sent flying in all directions. It was too terrifying. That aura was probably enough to crush even a saint. Lin Xian snorted coldly and continued to wave the Great Destruction Spear. The sword chi that was sent flying continuously returned. It was as if they had turned into sea dragons, circling in the water, trying to restrain the other party. Chapter 3366. Get lost! Yan Nantian let out a long roar, and the 9 heavens and 10 lands shook. The cave that was already damaged completely collapsed at that moment. The energy continued to spread in all directions. Not good. The people who were watching the battle from afar screamed in fear. Some of their ears exploded, and blood gushed out. Many of them had cracks in their ears. Run! They quickly retreated. At that moment, Yen Nantian was too powerful. The 9 emperor runes on his body rushed out and circled above his head, forming stars that flickered with incomparably bright light. An extremely terrifying wave circulated between heaven and earth. The sun, the moon, and the stars split heaven and earth. This was an extremely terrifying supreme mystique. It was the ultimate technique of the great emperor's inheritance. At that moment, it was extremely powerful and could destroy everything. Even Lin Xian frowned, and a piercing light burst out from his eyes as he quickly rushed into the clouds. Every beam of sword chi was as thick as a mountain. One after another, they danced with the great spear of destruction and rushed into the 9 heavens. After thinking about it, he shot down the 9 stars in the sky. This scene was too shocking. The 2 supreme mystiques were competing to see who was better. The Crimson Dragon and the others also quickly retreated. Boom! With one strike, the sky collapsed and the earth cracked. The surroundings were completely turned into chaos, and nothing could be left behind. Yen Nantian and Lin Xian's figures were also drowned out. They could not be seen clearly at all. Damn it, what was the battle situation like? Those who escaped in the distance were bewildered. Yen Ryu and the others were also nervous. Boom! Suddenly, an angry roar sounded. Then, the wind and clouds in the sky changed, and a figure appeared. Yen Nantian. However, at that moment, Yen Nantian's body was covered in blood. 2 of his 4 divine beasts had been pierced and were terrifyingly transparent. On his body, there were 13 sword scars. They were densely packed and crisscrossed all over his body. Blood flowed from them and dyed his body red. Heavens, Yen Nantian was injured. They were shocked and in disbelief. That Lin Wuyi was too powerful. Not necessarily. Maybe he was injured as well. Everyone looked carefully. Not long after, another figure appeared. It was Lin Wuyi. Those people exclaimed. They realized that Lin Wuyi was also injured, but his injuries were not serious. Furthermore, at that moment, that wound was healing at a speed visible to the naked eye. What a strong recovery ability. Everyone was shocked. Lin Xian, on the other hand, looked ahead and sneered. What do you think? Didn't I say that you're no match for me? If I can kill you once, I can kill you a second time. Damn it. Yen Nantian had really gone crazy. He knew that the other party was powerful, but in the past half a year, his strength had also improved by leaps and bounds. Initially, he thought that he would be able to suppress the other party. He even managed to kill the other party. But now, it seemed like that wasn't the case at all. The other party's rate of improvement was also very fast. In fact, he wasn't any weaker than Zhang Xian. He was even stronger than him. But now, in such an intense battle, his injuries were actually more serious than his opponent's. This meant that he was being suppressed again. As the successor of a great emperor, this was a disgrace, a humiliation. Damn it, I'll let you have a taste of my new treasure. Yen Nantian roared. Chaotic chi quickly spread out from his palm. It was a strange stone. The aura on it was way too scary. The moment it appeared, countless people screamed. Even Yen Ryu and the rest exclaimed. Chaotic chi? Could it be a chaotic stone? Yen Ryu and the rest exclaimed. Where did this guy get this? The Crimson Dragon said. Didn't he prove that he was the one who entered the cave? Perhaps he found a chaotic stone in there? Chaotic stone was an extremely unique stone that was born from chaotic chi. Chaotic chi was an extremely primitive aura between heaven and earth. It had a mysterious power. At this moment, Yen Nantian held the chaotic stone in his hand. If he borrowed the chaotic chi, his power would definitely increase once again. Indeed, Yen Nantian held the chaotic stone in his hand and stretched out his palm. The chaotic chi formed a huge palm that covered the sky and covered the earth. Those who were watching from afar felt their bodies cracking. This chaotic chi was way too scary. It could crush everything. Not good, retreat. Yan Ryu and the rest retreated quickly as well. Only Lin Xian was left in the field. In an instant, Lin Xian felt an immense pressure. Was this the chaotic chi? His body also emitted the sound of bones rubbing against each other. It was as if his body would break at any moment. Lin Xian shouted and a mysterious light appeared on his body. Then, he used the extreme speed of the Kunping movement technique. It's useless. You can't escape. Yan Nantian sneered. This is something I obtained in the void ocean. You didn't expect it, did you? Ha ha. Today is the day you die. Yan Nantian's eyes shone with a cold light. But soon he frowned. His chaotic chi could crush an area. Even a sage would be crushed into a bloody mist. So what if Lin Xian dodged? Could he escape from his palm? His palm had turned into a world of its own. But soon they realized that something was wrong. Lin Xian's speed was way too fast. It was so fast that it had surpassed his power. Damn it, what kind of movement technique is that? Why haven't I seen him use it before? Yan Nantian frowned. He couldn't even capture Lin Xian's figure, and could only see some blurry afterimages. At this moment, Lin Xian's voice sounded. Humph, did you get a treasure in the void ocean? Do you think I didn't? Today, I'll show you my movement technique. With that, Lin Xian increased his speed again. In the end, the sky was filled with afterimages and it was impossible to tell which one was real. However, at this moment, Lin Xian attacked. The spear of destruction turned into streaks of sword chi and charged towards Yan Nantian. Yan Nantian's body trembled and the chaotic stone in his hand almost fell out. Damn it! Yan Nantian used the Thunder God's body and the Han Wu fist to block it quickly. However, he knew that his plan to use the chaotic stone to kill Lin Xian had failed. Lin Xian had indeed obtained a treasure. Moreover, it was a divine ability movement technique. This made him extremely jealous. Lin Xian's talent was not inferior to his and he was also very lucky. Such a person was the most terrifying. Lin Xian had no choice but to use that move. Yan Nantian summoned the phantom of the hidden immortal pagoda again. This time, the hidden immortal pagoda was surrounded by chaotic chi and its power was even more terrifying than when he fought Yan Ryu. Lin Xian used the dragon sword soul to form the ancient desolate pagoda. Together with the power of the Kunping, its power was also terrifying. The two clashed again. Lin Xian roared and absorbed the power of the 9 heavens and 10 lands. The golden blood in his body burned and provided the dragon sword soul with power. In the end, the phantom of the hidden immortal pagoda was broken. Yan Nantian screamed again and was split in half. Let's attack and kill him in one go. The Crimson Dragon played the heaven-crippling chessboard. The Northern Demon used the longevity saber. Yan Ryu was even more direct. He summoned the mysterious figure and the green lotus. The power of this attack was not inferior to the hidden immortal pagoda. Yan Nantian was beaten into a bloody mist. His soul was injured and could be destroyed at any time. He screamed like a madman, like an evil spirit. Lin Xian! Yan Ryu! I will remember you! There will be a day when I will destroy both your bodies and souls. He roared madly, and then his body turned into a stream of light and disappeared. Chapter 3367. This time, he should be able to use up an Emperor Regeneration Talisman. Lin Xian looked at the fleeing figure. His eyes flashed, but he did not chase after him. Next time, he should be able to kill him, right? In the distance, those who saw this scene felt their bodies turn cold. It was too shocking. They had seen a peerless battle. The successor of an emperor had been killed. Moreover, he had fled in panic. No one knew if he had died in the end. These people were too terrifying. Now that we have the Dao Stone, let's go. Lin Xian waved his hand. The Crimson Dragon said, Sure, but before we leave, we have to take care of some people. He looked at the people from the 8-direction palace. because these people had attacked them twice before. Oh, people from the Eight-Direction Palace? All right, let's take care of them. Lin Xian nodded and walked forward. The people from the Eight-Direction Palace were scared out of their wits. Huan Jiao also screamed, "Stop, we are from the Eight-Direction Palace. Do you want to be enemies with the Eight-Direction Palace?" As soon as he finished speaking, his body was pierced by a black spear. Ah! Then, there was a miserable cry. The people from the Eight-Direction Palace were stunned. Their top genius couldn't even take a single blow from the opponent? The difference was too great. Boom! Lin Xian used his strength, and the Great Destruction Spear killed the opponent completely. His soul did not even have time to escape. Then, he attacked again and killed the remaining people from the Eight-Direction Palace. There were some spectators around. When they saw this scene, they immediately knelt on the ground and kowtowed, begging for mercy. Lin Xian did not kill these people because they had no conflict with him. He was not a bloodthirsty person. Therefore, he left quickly with the Crimson Dragon and the others. After Lin Xian and the others left, those who were still alive sat on the ground. Until now, their souls had not returned to their bodies. On the other side, in an empty sea region, a ray of light flew over. That ray of light was a bloody mist at first. However, it gradually condensed into a human figure. It was Yan Nantian. Yan Nantian was forced to use another great emperor rebirth blessing to heal himself. However, his eyes were bleeding. The great emperor regeneration talisman was a life-saving item. Under normal circumstances, he probably wouldn't even need one in a few hundred years. But now, he was using it again and again. In the past half a year, he had used 3 great emperor regeneration talismans. In addition to the one he had used in Heaven Flame City, he now had 4 great emperor regeneration talismans. Even though he was the successor of a great emperor, he only had 5 regeneration talismans. Now that he had used 4 of them, there was only one left. This last one was different from the previous ones, as it was a complete martial monarch regeneration talisman. It was a treasure that could allow him to instantly recover to his original state. It was also the treasure that he was most reluctant to use. In other words, he still had a chance to be reborn. If he were to die in the future, his soul would truly be destroyed. Lin Xian! He clenched his teeth at the mention of this name, as it was this person who had killed him 3 times, forcing him to use 3 monarch regeneration talismans. But now, he was no match for the other party, so he did not plan to attack again. It was better to wait until he completely became a saint. At that time, he would be able to open up more great emperor inheritances. But he would not let the other party have it easy. He remembered that the Cloud Sky Saint had a grudge with this guy. It just so happened that the Cloud Sky Saint was also here, so he could join forces with the Cloud Sky Saint. Also, he could send out the people from the Vermilion Bird Palace. Huan Jiao and the others who had stayed there had probably been killed, right? He could also tell the 8-Wind Palace. Then, he could spread the news that the other party had obtained the Dao Stone. Basically, he could gather some people to attack the other party. Even if he could not kill the other party, he had to injure the other party. At the very least, he would not let the other party feel so comfortable. Thinking of this, a vicious look appeared in his eyes. On the other side, Lin Xian and the others had also left. They continued on their way. The void sea was really vast. They had flown for so long, but they had not reached the end. However, after flying for about half a month, Lin Xian and the others discovered that there was a great battle ahead. And the battle was very intense. The Crimson Dragon and the North Demon were also excited. They felt a force calling out to them. It should be the Sea Demon's treasure. It should be the sages. The Crimson Dragon was a little excited. Lin Xian and the others increased their speed. As soon as they got closer, they saw a bloody light. The terrifying killing intent made many people's hearts skip a beat. It was so terrifying. It was the blood of a demon saint, and there was a lot of it. From afar they saw a corpse that was like a small mountain. The white bones were hideous, like a mountain of bones standing there. In the middle of the mountain of bones, there was a huge bloody vortex. It was the blood of a demon saint. After death, it did not dissipate. Instead, it gathered on the white bones. At this moment, the surrounding people were all attacking, as if they wanted to fight for the bloody vortex. What pure demon blood! Kid, this is good stuff. It's very useful to me. The Crimson Dragon was very excited. Beside him, the North Demon's eyes were shining. He also had the 10,000 demon body. The blood of a demon saint was also useful to him. Since that was the case, let's do it. Lin Xian and the others rushed forward. The battle ahead was very intense. Many forces were fighting, so the arrival of Lin Xian and the others did not attract much attention. That was because the teams usually had about 10 people. 4 people were too few. Sure enough, when Lin Xian and the others got closer, someone sneered. Die, ants! The terrifying saber light rushed towards them. The Crimson Dragon sneered. There are really people who don't know what's good for them. They dare to attack us? His dragon roar resounded through the 9 heavens and 10 lands. The blade light in front of him shattered continuously, and the half-saint who had attacked also exploded into a mist of blood. Seeing this, the others' faces changed. Heavens, who is this person? It's too scary. He killed a half-saint with a roar? Could it be that the powerful cultivators of the Dragon Valley had arrived? No one answered them. Lin Xian said, "Let's do it." He waved his golden fist and sent 6 half-saints flying in an instant. On the other side, Yenryu used the Sky Frost Palm and instantly froze 5 half-saints. The North Demon and the Crimson Dragon also attacked. In an instant, the half-saints around them were sent flying. This scene was simply too shocking. The experts who were still fighting in the surroundings all stopped and looked at the 4 people in shock and bewilderment. Who are they? It's too scary. Are they saints? They could not believe it. The half-saints were like paper in front of them. They were sent flying easily. The group arrived in front of the blood-colored vortex in an imposing manner. Rosalong, the North Demon, you 2 go in. Ryu, you go in too. Lin Xian looked at the 3 of them. The Crimson Dragon and the North Demon could not wait. However, Yenryu shook her head. I don't need it. Thinking about it, Yenryu had a mysterious power in her body. As long as she could control this power, it would be stronger than any demon blood. Therefore, she should not need it. Chapter 3368. Lin Xian wasn't a monster. If he wanted to absorb it, he would have to spend a lot of time tempering the baleful aura within it. Therefore, he didn't plan to absorb it. The Crimson Dragon and the North Monster were the leaders of the monster race and the 10,000 monster body. It was most suitable for them to absorb it. However, just as the 2 were about to enter, a cold snort rang out. If you want to enter, ask the sword in my hand first. Do you agree? This voice was too terrifying. Countless strands of sword chi surrounded the blood-red vortex, causing many cracks to appear around it. The Crimson Dragon and the North Monster stopped. They frowned and turned around. Lin Xian said, You 2 can go in. Ryu and I will protect you. No one can disturb you. The North Demon and the dark red Divine Dragon entered the blood-red vortex. Yenryu leaned to the side and summoned her green lotus, which froze in the void. You're courting death. How dare you not listen to me? The person who spoke in the distance was furious. How dare someone ignore him? Between heaven and earth, countless strands of sword chi slashed forward like a rain of swords. This aura was too terrifying. The surrounding half-saints felt their bodies turn cold. Many of them even screamed that the little sword saint had made his move. Faced with this terrifying rain of swords, Lin Xian turned his head, and a cold glint flashed in his eyes. With a turn of his palm, a huge golden hand sucked in all the surrounding seawater, forming a water qilin that charged forward. Wherever it passed, it brought about endless waves that clashed with the sword chi that filled the sky. Boom! Boom! Earth-shattering sounds rang out. The water qilin roared and blasted away many strands of sword chi. However, there was still some sword chi that pierced through the water chi Lin's body. Then, the sword chi rushed over at an extremely fast speed. Eh? Lin Xian was extremely shocked. This person's sword chi was unusual. It could actually pierce through his water chi Lin. The surrounding people exclaimed. That kid was dead for sure. How dare he ignore the little sword saint? He would probably go to hell today. The little sword saint sneered. There was actually someone who dared to ignore his sword chi. That person was truly reckless. In the blink of an eye, hundreds of sword chi arrived before Lin Xian. These sword chi carried a sharp light that could cut through anything in the world. Lin Xian's eyes flashed with a cold light. His lips curled into a smile. Interesting. He reached out with his golden hand and grabbed forward. That hand was capable of capturing even a true dragon. Thus, it was able to instantly capture over 100 strands of sword aura. Over 100 streaks of sword chi clashed, releasing a biting cold killing intent. They wanted to break free, but they couldn't. He was firmly pressed into the void by the golden hand. Then, Lin Xian grabbed over 100 sword chis and threw them out with all his might. Over 100 sword chis flew out, and all of them stabbed towards the figure in the distance. The little sword saint's body went cold. His pupils shrank as he felt a great sense of danger. With a sway of his body, he used his movement technique and quickly dodged the sword chi. At the same time, he looked ahead with a gloomy expression. The other party was actually able to receive his sword chi with his bare hands. Just who was this person? He really couldn't believe it. Although he was still a half-saint, his sword chi was so terrifying that it could already contend with a saint. That was why he was called the Little Sword Saint. In the past, when he attacked, no one could stop him. A half-saint of the same level couldn't even block one of his attacks. It could be said that he was arrogant, but today, he had met his match. Who are you? The Little Sword Saint asked coldly. Lin Xian raised his head and carefully sized up the other party. In the distant sky, there was a young man wearing battle armor. He had a cold expression and his black hair fluttered in the wind. The sword chi on his body was constantly circling around him, making him look like a sword god. What was even more surprising was that the other party's sword chi also contained many laws. The fragments were like small runed swords that made one feel cold just by looking at them. Sword law. Lin Xian was surprised. He didn't expect that the other party had comprehended the sword law. It was really incredible. There were thousands of laws, and the sword law was one of them. However, it was very rare. Those who could comprehend the sword law were very rare. Now, he actually met one. Moreover, the other party was also a top-notch swordsman. This made Lin Xian somewhat happy. The sword law? I didn't expect that I couldn't comprehend the sword law. Interesting. The little sword saint's face sank. Seeing the other party talking to himself, and not answering his question made him go crazy. Was he ignored by the other party again? He roared, and the sword law fragments that filled the sky danced, piercing through everything and sending them flying. A terrifying black hole formed in the void ocean. I asked you, who are you? Me? My name is Lin Xian. Lin Xian? I've never heard of you. Which sect are you from? The little sword saint asked again. He felt that the other party was very unusual because no one could catch his sword chi with their bare hands. Beat me and I'll tell you. Lin Xian also walked out. He was very interested in the other party, so he wanted to fight with him. You're courting death. I'll fulfill your wish. The little sword saint rushed out and waved his hand. Countless sword law fragments slashed forward. In an instant, the void in front of him shattered. Lin Xian didn't dodge at all. He waved his arm. A sword chi also flew out. Was he also a swordsman? The little sword saint saw that the other party also shot out sword chi. The little sword saint was stunned, but soon he sneered. They were both swordsmen. So what? He was different from ordinary half-saints because he had comprehended the law of the sword. In terms of sword chi, even a saint might not be able to beat him. Therefore, at this moment, When he saw that the other party also shot out sword chi, he immediately sneered. The surrounding people were also discussing. They didn't expect that this person was also a swordsman. However, he was too stupid to compete with the little sword saint in sword chi. Yes, if he used other divine abilities, he might be able to block it. However, in terms of sword chi, he had no chance of winning. Everyone was optimistic about the little sword saint because the little sword saint's reputation was too strong. Especially when he used the sword law, it was unparalleled. But soon, those people were stunned because they realized that the two sword chis in the sky were in a stalemate. Lin Xian shot out metal sword chi. The terrifying golden sword light was extremely sharp and could tear everything apart. How is this possible? How can it compete with my sword chi? The little sword saint was also stunned. In his opinion, he could easily break the other party's sword chi and even break the other party's head. But now, he was extremely surprised. It's actually the metal law? It's really sharp. However, no matter how sharp it is, how can it compare to my sword law? Sword controlling technique, kill! He roared angrily and waved his hand. The sword law around him formed 13 sword laws and charged forward. In an instant, the green sword light in front of him was split apart. The 13 sword laws weaved between heaven and earth. They were extremely strange and agile as they stabbed toward Lin Xian's 13 vital points. Chapter 3369. The little sword saint unleashed 13 swords of the laws, which swept across heaven and earth. Those sword shadows were extremely strange, and they quickly pierced towards Lin Xian's 13 vital points. Sword controlling technique? Lin Xian narrowed his eyes and waved his arm again. This time, he unleashed the swords of water. These swords of water were extremely soft, and they were like poisonous snakes that quickly coiled around the swords of the laws. The swords of the laws seemed to have fallen into a quagmire. They slowed down, and the light on them dimmed. It was as if they were about to be obliterated by this soft force. The surrounding people were already stunned, but the little sword saint was surprised. His opponent was so strange. First, he had such a strong sword technique, and now he unleashed such a soft sword chi. His opponent's sword style was so strange and ever-changing. It was really rare for him. One had to know that a person's fighting style was usually either violent, soft, or vicious. It was rare to use both strong and soft. He didn't expect the person in front of him to be so strange. However, he snorted coldly. So what if it was strange? He was very confident in his sword-controlling technique. Sword-controlling technique, selfless sword. As the voice sounded, the 13 swords of the laws became even more terrifying. They were like peerless sword chi that shone brightly. Lin Xian also waved his hand, and the swords of water were even softer. The two completely opposite forces collided in the sky. Suddenly, the surrounding sea was constantly shattered, and a vacuum zone appeared. It was like a river of space, making people tremble. In the end, the 13 swords of the laws were forcibly entangled and fixed in the void, unable to move forward. Sword controlling technique? Not bad, the laws of the sword are not bad, but do you have any other techniques? Lin Xian raised his head and looked forward, asking indifferently. Damn it, what's wrong with this guy? His opponent's tone made him very unhappy, so the little sword saint snorted coldly. He formed a seal with his fingers and shouted coldly. Sword controlling technique, Heavenly Dipper sword. The 13 swords of the laws seemed to be summoned, and suddenly broke free, turning into 13 dense sword chi. It enveloped Lin Xian, and it looked like it wanted to use a sword array. Terrifying sword laws danced non-stop. The place where Lin Xian was at formed a world of sword chi. Lin Xian used the green lotus sword to fight. Astonishing sword chi collided in the air, and the two were locked in a fierce battle. The Big Dipper sword formation was extremely terrifying and mysterious. However, Lin Xian was not only a sword expert, he was also a formation master. Therefore, he was able to easily block the attack of the sword array. On the other side, the little sword saint was indeed stunned. Even the Heavenly Dipper sword formation couldn't do anything to him? In that case, the other divine abilities that were similar to the Big Dipper sword formation shouldn't be able to harm him. Thinking of this, a cold look appeared in his eyes. Looks like I can only use that one. Brat, you should be proud to be able to witness my ultimate technique. Now give me hell. His hands continued to form hand seals, and sword seals appeared in the sky. The 13 swords of the laws were also waved non-stop, and then scattered, turning into small rune swords. Each of them carried a law, and they were densely packed. The entire sea was completely enveloped. Sword controlling technique, myriad sword art. Following the order, thousands of small rune swords, carrying nomological fragments, rushed over like dragons. The area in front of him was completely engulfed. The surrounding people were all stunned. Myriad sword art? That was the Little Sword Saint's ultimate technique. Once the myriad sword art was used, it was said that even saints had to retreat. No matter how strong that person was, he shouldn't be able to block it, right? That was for sure, unless he was a saint. The Little Sword Saint also revealed a cold smile. Once he used his strongest ultimate technique, his opponent would definitely die. However, soon, his smile froze, because he saw a fiery red light suddenly lit up in the sky. It was a flame. How was it possible that the other party was going to use a fire divine ability in the sea? But it would be suppressed here. The Little Sword Saint was surprised, and the surrounding people were also stunned. They didn't expect the other party to use the 13th flame at this time. Shouldn't he use the sword of water? What an idiot! Many people shook their heads and sneered. But soon, they were all stunned because the fiery sword she was getting bigger and bigger. It brought with it a destructive aura, which was also very terrifying. Then, everyone was completely stunned. Countless sword she was shot up into the sky by the fiery sword light. It could cut through the 9 heavens, and it directly slashed forward. Wherever it passed, everything was shattered. With a boom, the rune swords of the myriad sword art were all swept away and shattered into pieces. Not good. The Little Sword Saint's pupils shrank, and he dodged crazily. But he was still swept by the sword chi. Suddenly, half of his body split open. Blood also flowed out of his mouth uncontrollably. Everyone was stunned. Was the Little Sword Saint defeated? Moreover, he was in such a sorry state. The person in front of them only used the sword chi to break the myriad sword art. Who was this person? Lin Xian looked at the other party and said indifferently, "Your strength is not bad, and the law of sword is very rare. According to my estimate, you should be stronger than Long Zhaotian. Among the half-saints, you are considered the top. But unfortunately you met me." Indeed, if the other party's strength was on the Abyss leaderboard, his ranking would definitely be higher than Long Zhaotian's. He would be ranked behind him and Di Ling. However, Lin Xian was no longer comparable to a half-saint. He had killed 3 saints. Even the descendants of the great emperors were no match for him. Not to mention the Little Sword Saint in front of him. Unless the other party became a true sword saint, perhaps he would be able to fight with him. Hearing the words of an elder criticizing a junior, the Little Sword Saint was about to go crazy. He gritted his teeth and roared, "Damn it, who are you? Who are you? I said that my name is Lin Xian. You may be unfamiliar with this name, but perhaps you should know my other title. They all call me Lin Woody." "What, Lin Woody?" The Little Sword Saint was stupefied. Everyone else was also stupefied. These 3 words were like thunder that struck their hearts, causing them to tremble. Soon they gasped. The Little Sword Saint's body also trembled slightly. Lin Woody. These 3 words were like a mountain, resounding through the ancient path of the stars. This was the first on the Vermilion Bird list, the peerless genius who killed the great demon and defeated Yan Nantian. So it was him! Everyone exclaimed. No wonder he could defeat the Little Sword Saint so easily. That's right. He was probably the only one who could do that. Exclamations sounded one after another. The Little Sword Saint also seemed to have been drained of all his strength. He was a sword genius and powerful. He even had the qualifications to compete with saints. However, in front of his opponent, he felt powerless. He could not resist his opponent's methods. Chapter 3370. Who else wants to give it a try? Lin Xian's gaze swept across his surroundings. Suddenly, the surrounding experts all retreated and lowered their heads. No one dared to look at Lin Xian. Even the little sword saint had been defeated by him. They probably wouldn't be able to defeat him. What a bunch of trash. Even if they can't defeat him one-on-one, they should be able to find an opportunity to attack him as a group. A disdainful sneer came from afar. When the experts heard it, their faces turned red and they trembled with anger. Damn it, who dares to insult us? Who is it? Come out! I'll kill you with my axe! A hot-tempered half-saint snorted and his terrifying voice resounded like thunder. The others also snorted. What right does a sneaky person have to talk about us? Bang, bang, bang! However, as soon as these people finished speaking, they were hit in the face and directly fell into the void. Their faces had been smashed, and their bodies were trembling. A figure appeared. How dare you talk back to me? There's no need for you to live. As he spoke, the heads of those people were instantly cut off. The half-saint's blood dyed the sea red. Suddenly, the surrounding people gasped and shrank their necks in fear. They quickly retreated like crazy. Who is this person? He's too terrifying. They originally thought that the person who mocked them was nothing, but now it seemed that they were wrong. This person was very powerful. The little sword saint's pupils shrank and his face turned pale. It seems that someone powerful has come. However, this method is a little too bloody. Lin Xian and Yan Ryu also frowned. Who's so arrogant? Killing people just because of a few words? One had to know that he didn't kill any half-saints when he fought with these people. The person who came is probably not a kind person. I said that you're trash, but you didn't agree. Now, who dares to refute me? The figure appeared. He stood in the void with his hands behind his back and asked faintly. No one dared to talk back to him because the 3 half-saints who talked back were all killed instantly. It's you! You Lingzi! The little sword saint exclaimed. Yes, it's me. That person stood with his hands behind his back. His body was translucent, which was very strange. When the others heard this, their scalps went numb. Was it you, Lingzi? No wonder he was so powerful and his methods were so vicious. Yu Lingzi was an extremely terrifying expert in the Dark Knight Divine Palace, and his methods were extremely cruel. He was good at assassination. He had taken the life of a half-saint with a single strike. It was even rumored that Yu Lingzi had killed a saint-level expert before. Although it was an assassination, and it was said that the saint was injured, this was a clear indication of Yu Lingzi's strength. Yu Lingzi glanced at the little sword saint and coldly snorted. To think that you were called the little sword saint! Who would have thought that you would lose so miserably? The little sword saint's face darkened as well. Yu Lingzi, don't be so arrogant. Do you know who I'm facing? He is Lin Wudi. Can you compete with him? Invincible Lin? Yu Lingzi's eyes shone with a black light as he stared straight ahead. The corners of his mouth curled up into a cold smile. Like I said, if we can't fight one-on-one, then let's attack together. He could always find an opportunity to kill him. Attack together? The little sword saint sneered. Against such a person, the human wave tactic was useless. That was indeed the case. For example, once he used the 10,000 sword art, tens of thousands of sword chi would be unleashed. No matter how many people there were, they couldn't block it. This was absolute strength. However, Yu Lingzi laughed. An ordinary half-saint couldn't do it, but if it was someone like me? Even if it were a group of sages attacking together, do you think Lin Wudi would be able to withstand it? He was just called invincible. He wasn't really invincible. What? Hearing this, the little sword saint's pupils constricted. The surrounding people were also frightened. Could it be that Yu Lingzi wasn't the only one who came this time? Was there another group of people who were on par with Yu Lingzi? Heavens, was there really such a team? Yan Ryu whispered. Be careful. They seem to have come prepared. Lin Xian narrowed his eyes and looked around with a cold expression. But now, he couldn't leave. Because the Crimson Dragon and the North Demon were still absorbing the power of the Saint blood in the blood-colored vortex. He had promised the two of them that he would protect them, so he had to do it. I want to see who dares to come and go against me. He snorted coldly. Is that so? You're too confident. A cold voice sounded. The Tao patterns between heaven and earth were natural and unrestrained. The surrounding seawater surged, and a terrifying vacuum appeared. It was a complete law. A saint had come. The surrounding people retreated crazily, their bodies trembling non-stop. They didn't expect a saint to descend. Moreover, he was working together with Yu Lingzi. Cloud Saint? Cloud Saint? Lin Xian narrowed his eyes and frowned. The other party's appearance surprised him. Because back in the Demon Cultivation Valley, he used a trap to lure the other party into the demonic pool and suppressed him. He originally thought that it would take at least a few hundred years for the other party to come out. He didn't expect the other party to come out so early. You're quite lucky. Even the demonic pool couldn't drown you. But you still dare to provoke me? Fine, I'll kill you with my own hands. Lin Xian glanced at Cloud Saint and didn't pay attention to him. The surrounding people spat. Was this the normal tone of a half-saint and a saint? What kind of joke was this? A normal half-saint would tremble in front of a saint like them. However, Lin Xian didn't seem to be trembling at all. He even threatened to kill the saint. Cunning brat, you dared to set me up last time and let me enter such a dangerous place. Do you think you can kill me like this? You underestimate a saint too much. Not only did I come out, but I also profited from the disaster and obtained a treasure from the demonic pool. I'll use that treasure to torture you to death later. Everything you have will be mine. The law divine chains on Cloud Saint's body kept swaying, forming a sacred domain that shrouded the area in front of him. You can't catch me. Who else is there? Come out. A golden light flashed in Lin Xian's eyes. He realized that there were a few powerful auras around him. That's right. Cloud Saint isn't the only one here. There are a few others who want to meet you. Yu Lingzi sneered. Please come out. The little sword saint frowned. The other party used the word please, which meant that the following people were not ordinary. At least, they weren't comparable to Yu Lingzi's tea. It was even possible that there were other saints. In the distance, a few more figures appeared. Their auras were incomparably powerful. The little sword saint was shocked. The surrounding people were so frightened that they knelt on the ground and even trembled. Oh heavens, who are these people? These people were all top-notch experts. Who was it? Who was it that gathered them together? Could it be that they came for the same purpose? To kill Lin Woody? But why is it so coincidental? Chapter 3371. Among the three newcomers, the one in the north was a huge man. He was covered in dragon scales and had dragon horns on his head. He looked mighty and extraordinary. The dragon blood surged, causing the hearts of countless half-saints to beat wildly. His name was Long Shan. On the west side, there was also a domineering man. His aura caused the world to tremble. He was an expert from the Eight-Wind Hall. Desolate Overlord. The man on the east side was slender, and had a scholarly face. He was dressed like a scholar, and even had a book in his hand. He had a strong scholarly aura. He looked like a scholar who had come to the capital for the imperial examination. No one wanted to snatch him away. His name was Sikong Jing. Although he looked like a scholar, he was able to stand beside Cloud Sky Saint. It was enough to show that his strength was extraordinary. There was another person standing far away with a cold smile on his face, not daring to approach. The surrounding half-saints sucked in a breath of cold air. Oh my heavens, these are all top-notch experts. With Cloud Sky Saint, even the other saints would not be able to escape from such a lineup, let alone Lin Woody. Lin Woody was probably going to die. The little sword saint was also very nervous. If such a lineup was to fight him, even if he had 10 lives, it would not be enough. Little sword saint, do you want to join forces? Lingzi looked forward. The little sword saint's face was gloomy, but then he said, If you don't join forces, I won't interfere. He quickly retreated. Forget it, it's okay to lose you. The few of us will be enough. These people were very strong and confident. If they joined forces, Lin Wuti would not be able to escape death. It seemed that there was going to be another big battle. Yen Ryu took a deep breath. Her beautiful eyes shone with seriousness. Lin Xian narrowed his eyes. He did not forget to look at these people. Instead, he looked at the figure in the distance. Yen Nantian. He snorted coldly. It was indeed the other party's doing. However, what surprised him was that he saw that it was not Yen Nanshan's real body, but a clone. It seemed that this guy was afraid of dying again, so he only dared to send a clone to watch the battle. You guys were called over by Yen Nantian, right? I wonder what benefits he gave you guys to actually make you guys attack at the same time? However, you have been deceived by him. He has already been killed by me several times. Even if you join forces, how can you be my opponent? I'll give you a chance. Get out of my sight and I'll spare your lives. Otherwise, once we start fighting, don't blame me for being impolite. Impolite to us? Longshan sneered, his eyes filled with disdain. On the other side, Desolate Overlord scoffed coldly. You are too naive. You killed Yin Nantian and we admit that you are strong, but so what? Every single one of us here is basically capable of contending with Yen Nan's heaven. Even if he couldn't beat him, he wouldn't be too far off. With so many of us working together, even Yen Nantian was defeated by us. You are no exception. The heavens have a good life. As long as you give me the Tao stone you obtained, I can consider leaving. Right at this moment, Sikong Jing also spoke. His gaze was steady, his voice was steady, and his body still did not carry any terrifying aura. However, Lin Xian furrowed his brows when he heard those words. You want my Tao stone? Are you kidding me? I won't give it to others. Since we can't come to an agreement, then let's fight. I want to see what kind of ability you have to dare to kill me. He took a step forward, and the aura on his body became violent and terrifying. His 9-yang divine body shone brightly, and rays of sword chi shot into the sky. At this moment, Lin Xian seemed to have become a peerless god of war. Beside him, Yen Ryu also walked out, her body emitting a terrifying aura. She did not touch Xu Qinglian. Instead, she placed it near the blood-colored vortex to ensure the safety of the Crimson Dragon and the Northern Demon. This kid's life is mine. Cloud Sky Saint stood out and stared coldly at Lin Xian. Then I will play with this beauty. Yu Lingzi had his eyes on Yen Ryu. Long Shan, Desolate Overlord, and Sikong Jing stood there without moving. Their eyes flickered as they looked at the two with a cold smile. The scalps of the surrounding people went numb. How could they fight? There were too many of them. Cloud Sky Saint alone could restrain Lin Xian. No matter how strong the peerless beauty beside him was, could she block the attacks of the other experts? It was impossible. She would probably be defeated in an instant. Seeing this, Lin Xian was not worried. He turned his head to look at Yen Ryu. She would use her doppelganger. She could create a few doppelganger. At this point, his eyes shone with a piercing cold light. With a wave of his hand, endless fragments of the law of water gathered and absorbed the essence of the void sea around him, forming a water doppelganger. On the other side, he once again formed a metal doppelganger and an earth doppelganger. Lin Xian formed 3 doppelganger in an instant. The 3 doppelganger were surrounded by the law of water, and it was piercingly cold. Yen Ryu also formed a blue doppelganger that was covered in ice. It was an ice doppelganger. Lin Xian fought Cloud Sky Saint, the metal doppelganger fought Desolate Overlord, and the earth doppelganger fought Long Shan. On the other side, Yen Ryu's ice doppelganger fought Sikong Jing, while Yen Ryu targeted Yu Lingzi. In an instant, almost everyone had found their opponents. At this time, Only Lin Xian's water doppelganger was left. The water doppelganger merged into the void sea and quickly charged forward. He was very fast. His target was Yan Nanshan's doppelganger in the distance. He wanted to kill him first. In an instant, the water doppelganger rushed forward. Humph! Cloud Sky Saint, Longshan, and the others frowned. How dare he send so many doppelganger to deal with them? Was he looking down on them? They thought that even if Yan Nanshan's real body came, they would not be afraid. But now, Yan Nantian had only sent his doppelganger, which made them feel humiliated. Damn brat, I'll destroy your doppelganger in an instant, then capture you and make you suffer a fate worse than death. Their faces were extremely cold. They were all peerless experts who could laugh proudly in a region. When had they ever been looked down upon like this? Cut the crap, let's do it. Cloud Sky Saint made the first move. He did not care how many doppelganger Yan Nantian had. His target was Yan Nanshan's real body. So in an instant, Cloud Sky Saint rushed out and shrouded Yan Nantian. A terrifying aura spread between heaven and earth. This was a true law. The terrifying aura instantly shattered the surrounding seawater, and the terrifying aura made the hearts of the experts in the distance beat wildly. They quickly retreated. Once these people started fighting, it would definitely be earth-shattering. Kill! Lin Xian roared, and the other doppelganger moved quickly. His real body was like an overlord, and his voice was like thunder, shattering the surrounding space. Sword Chi rushed out of his body like a heavenly sword, sweeping in all directions. At this moment, he was extremely powerful. What a terrifying Sword Chi! The little sword saint retreated far away. He was extremely shocked when he felt the aura. It seemed that Yan Nantian had not used his full strength when fighting with him previously, because he could not block the Sword Chi now. This person was really too terrifying. Although he did not comprehend the law of sword, his sword principle was not inferior to his at all. Moreover, his strength far surpassed his. Chapter 3372. In front of him, a violent collision sound rang out. Lin Xian was extremely powerful. The great destruction spear in his hand was constantly brandishing, colliding with the Sky Saint domain. The entire underwater world shook violently. He was like a peerless sword god, splitting the world apart. Sky Saint's expression changed. He realized that his saint domain was actually shaking, as if it could not suppress the other party. This was too unbelievable. Because when he fought with the other party in the Demon Cultivation Valley, the other party seemed to be afraid of him. Therefore, he used a trap to lure him into the demon altar. At that time, he thought that the other party was not his match at all. But now, it seemed that the other party's strength had become so strong that he was almost unable to suppress the other party. Damn it, what happened to the other party? Why did his strength change so drastically? Thinking of this, his expression became even more gloomy. The other party was too terrifying. Why did his talent seem even more terrifying than Yan Nanshan's? He estimated that in a few years, the other party would surpass him. At that time, it would be as difficult as ascending to the heavens to kill the other party. Therefore, this was almost his last chance. The laws on Sky Saint's body became more and more biting cold. He quickly waved his saint domain. In the saint domain, there were countless clouds surrounding it, bringing with it an unparalleled pressure. Those clouds might look ethereal, but they all contained killing intent, formed by laws. Lin Xian fought with it, shaking the world. This power was too terrifying. The two fought fiercely, and the people in the distance were all stunned. Heavens, this Lin Wuyi could actually fight with a saint. It was unbelievable. The other battles were equally shocking. Yan Ryu was fighting against Yulingzi. Yulingzi appeared and disappeared mysteriously, but Yan Ryu's sky frost palm caused the surroundings to be covered in ice. Anyone who approached her was frozen. For a moment, Yulingzi could not get close. The other people's performance was equally terrifying. Desolate Overlord was like a peerless overlord, swallowing mountains and rivers with his palms. The one fighting against him was Lin Xian's metal avatar. The metal law on his body was extremely sharp, like a peerless divine sword. He continued to charge around violently, and it was hard to tell who had the upper hand. Courting death. Long Shan was incomparably berserk. With a long roar, the dragon's roar shook the 9 heavens and 10 earths. The powerful force could destroy everything. The physical bodies of the dragon clan were strong to begin with, and this Long Shan was an expert of the dragon clan. It could be said that his life and death were astonishing. However, Lin Xian's law of earth was also incomparably powerful. The body formed by the law of earth carried a heavy power. Every punch was powerful enough to crush mountains and rivers. The two sides were also in a deadlock. This scene stunned everyone. How could this be? Long Shan and Desolate Overlord were both at the peak of the half-saints. Their strength and power were enormous. If he was only able to fight to a draw with his opponent's clone, how terrifying would his opponent's true body be? However, there were also experts who frowned. No, that wasn't an ordinary clone. Didn't you all notice? Lin Wudi's avatar represented a single law. Clearly, he had mastered many laws. What was condensed now was a body of laws, and its power was unparalleled. It was probably not much weaker than his main body. The only drawback was that it could not be condensed for a long time. What? That was terrifying. Thinking of this, they sucked in a breath of cold air. Currently, Lin Wudi had displayed the law of metal, the law of water, and the law of earth. Then, the other party had at least one law in his hands because he was fighting with Cloud Firmament Saint. Didn't this mean that the other party had comprehended at least 4 laws? Moreover, there might be more. Thinking of this, they were extremely shocked. This Lin Wudi was too amazing. One had to know that laws were very difficult to comprehend. It was already very difficult for them to comprehend one. Moreover, to comprehend the depths of the Tao, it would take a lot of time and energy. Therefore, very few people could comprehend multiple laws. Even if they did, it would be in 2 complementary formats. There were also some who comprehended multiple laws, but they focused on one law while the others were supplementary. However, looking at Lin Wudi, it seemed that every law was very powerful. Damn it, was the other party still human? Where did the other party get so much energy to comprehend so many laws at the same time? Tao Stone, it must be the Tao Stone. Didn't the other party seize a Tao Stone? I guess that he might have other Tao Stones in his hands. Otherwise, his other laws wouldn't be so powerful, right? When these words came out, the others were shocked and their eyes burned. However, when they saw the intense battle in front of them, they all sighed. So what if the other party had more treasures on him? They didn't dare to seize them. Didn't they see that Cloud Firmament Saint was almost unable to suppress the other party? Lin Xian's sword energy was really too terrifying. It was like a vast sea that rushed into the sky. Every strike caused the sacred domain to tremble. There was no other way. Lin Xian didn't hold back at all now. The great dragon sword soul increased the power of the spear of destruction, and the power of the divine body went all out. As he waved his sword, there was supreme divine power. Cloud Firmament Saint's face was ashen. He also used the law of clouds to the extreme. In the sacred domain, every inch of space was filled with peerless killing intent. Anyone below the half-saint level would be instantly killed. Even if it was a saint, Cloud Firmament Saint was confident that he wouldn't be able to walk out. However, he still underestimated Lin Xian. After 300 moves, Lin Xian used 9 suns open the sky to directly open the sacred domain and flew out. Sword energy fluttered all over his body. He was like a peerless sword god. The great spear of destruction in his hand pointed forward. Old man Cloud Firmament, you're still too inexperienced to kill me. His voice resounded throughout the 9 heavens and 10 lands. In the distance, Long Shan, Desolate Overlord, Sikong Jing, and the others' expressions all changed. Did the other party rush out of the sacred domain? He was too powerful. Although they were confident that they could contend with a saint, they were directly enveloped in the sacred domain. They probably couldn't come out and would very likely die. But now, Lin Xian had forcefully opened up his saint region. This shocked them. And what made them even more angry was that they couldn't kill these clones in a short time. These bodies of laws were really too strange. They could actually contend with them. Die! Cloud Firmament Saint roared. The other party actually pierced his sacred domain. It was really unforgivable. He waved his palm, and the clouds in the sky pressed down like a mountain. The palm hit the great spear of destruction and made a loud sound. Lin Xian's arm was shaken until it went numb. But soon, it was offset by a powerful force. Lin Xian's black hair fluttered, and his eyes were like divine swords. Old man Cloud Firmament, you miscalculated. I've already killed 3 saints. Today, you'll be the 4th. I'll use your blood as a sacrifice to this weapon. At this point, he stabbed out with his spear. It flew out in an instant, and the cloud palm was instantly disintegrated and dissipated. Not only that, but this mysterious force also swept towards Cloud Firmament Saint. Cloud Firmament Saint's expression changed. He felt a fatal danger, so his body gradually faded and turned into clouds, covering heaven and earth. At this moment, he seemed to have turned into a cloud in the sky, moving without a trace. No attack could hurt him at all. Chapter 3373. Clouds have no form and are incomparably ethereal. How can you hurt me? A loud voice floated down from the sky. Everyone trembled from the shock. Lin Xian sneered. You think I can't kill you just because you don't have a form? Even if you turn into a black hole, I'll still destroy you. The great destruction spear rushed out, and the power of the great dragon sword soul erupted. The clouds in the sky were actually dispersing. Seeing this, everyone exclaimed in fear. What kind of power is this? It's so strange. Even the formless clouds can be disintegrated. Cloud Sky Saint roared and rushed out instantly. More than half of his robe was gone, and one of his arms was gone as well. Damn Junior, how dare you hurt me? He was too angry. He had the body of a saint with a complete set of laws. How could he not be able to block an attack from his opponent? How can a half-saint be so strong? Old man Cloud Sky, didn't you get a treasure from the demonic pool? Take it out and let me see it. Otherwise, you won't have a chance. You'll die without a doubt. Lin Xian's voice was sonorous. He could be said to be extremely powerful now. At this moment, he could kill anyone who stood in his way. Cloud Sky Saint's face was gloomy. His sacred region had been destroyed. He reckoned that it would be difficult to subdue his opponent even if he used other means. Thinking of this, he snorted. All right, since you want to see it, I'll let you see it. Speaking of this, he took out an item. It was a pitch-black palm. It was very strange. As soon as it appeared, it carried a terrifying aura. The surrounding people were all sent flying. So terrifying. What is that? They screamed crazily. Long Shan, Desolate Overlord, and the others who were fighting were also shocked. They felt threatened. That thing can destroy them in an instant. Kid, I got this thing called the Demon's Left Hand. It was left behind by a demon saint. Do you think you can still fight against me now? Speaking of this, his palm and the demon's left hand quickly merged. The demon's left hand seemed to have turned into a black glove, perfectly fusing with Cloud Sky Saint's hand. After that, Cloud Sky Saint's aura increased tremendously. He threw out a palm strike, and the surroundings instantly turned pitch black. The terrifying power instantly engulfed Lin Xian. With a bang, Lin Xian was sent flying. Many cracks appeared on his body. Ha ha ha, are you still a match for me? The Cloud Sky Saint laughed out loud. He was too excited. Previously, he had used all his strength but was unable to injure his opponent. He did not expect that after taking out the demon's left hand, he would be able to injure his opponent. If this continued, he estimated that he would be able to kill his opponent in less than 10 moves. The surrounding people were also stupefied. What was going on? That left hand was too terrifying. Yen Ryu, who was fighting, also frowned. She felt a chill run down her spine. The left hand of the devil was indeed very powerful. Lin Xian stood up. His god body radiated a blinding light that healed his wounds. His expression was somewhat cold. He did not expect that the other party had actually obtained such a treasure. But so what? He unleashed the 13 green lotus swords, which produced a terrifying sword light that swept forward. Its power was stronger than before, but it didn't matter what effect it had. The Cloud Sky Saint sneered. The power of the demon's left hand is not something you can imagine. This thing has an extraordinary origin, so you can die in peace now. The Cloud Sky Saint raised his left hand again. His hand was pitch black like a devil's, and there were strange demonic runes on it. When he slammed his palm down, the energy was extremely terrifying. With a boom, he shattered all the sword chi and charged towards Lin Xian. Lin Xian executed the Kunpeng movement technique and quickly dodged the attack. However, his aura was still tumbling. Indeed, the left hand of the devil was very terrifying. You actually managed to dodge it. But how many more moves can you make? The Cloud Sky Saint revealed a sinister smile. He was like a cat playing with a mouse. He did not attack directly. Instead, he turned around and attacked Lin Xian's bodies of laws. Boom! Boom! The golden Dharma body and the earth Dharma body were both shattered. In fact, even the water clone in the distance started to split apart. However, at the final moment, the water clone self-detonated. The energy also destroyed Yan Nanshan's clone. It could be said that both of them perished together. Not only that, but the Cloud Sky Saint also slammed his palm down. The left hand of the demon also shattered Yan Ryu's eyes clone. At this moment, all the clones were destroyed. The Cloud Sky Saint looked at Longshan, Desolate Overlord, and the others. His cold voice rang out. All of you, attack together and capture that woman. I want him to see with his own eyes that the woman he loves dies for him. His voice was too cold. Longshan and the others also had a cold expression. Previously, they did not care about the Cloud Sky Saint and thought that they could fight against him. But now, the Cloud Sky Saint had used the left hand of the demon. This power was too terrifying. They had no choice but to move towards him. Otherwise, the other party would kill them with a single slap. Therefore, they joined forces and surrounded Yan Ryu. Longshan, Desolate Overlord, Yulingzi, and Sikong Jing surrounded Yan Ryu. This scene made the people in the distance break out in cold sweat. They knew that this beautiful woman was probably going to die because no one could escape the siege of these 4 experts. Yan Ryu was in an extremely dangerous situation. Longshan sneered. Little girl, we did not want to bully you. But unfortunately, since you are with Lin Woody, you can die. Heavenly Dragon Fist. Longshan roared. A terrifying power surged from his body as if a giant dragon was attacking. 8 Desolation Palms. Desolate Overlord also made his move. His attack carried an indomitable aura. This palm strike was basically able to shatter everything. A fatal blow? Well, I'll kill you in one move. Yulingzi slammed out a purple dagger. It was like a ghost. It disappeared in an instant. He had used an assassination technique. The last one, Sikong Jing, also sighed. He gently closed the scroll in his hand and said loudly, Milky Way 9 heavens! Suddenly, the void split open and 9 Milky Ways rolled down. Each of them could easily kill a half-saint. The 9 Milky Ways roared and rushed towards Yan Ryu. The 4 of them actually used their ultimate moves in an instant. Obviously, they wanted to kill Yan Ryu in one move. It's over. The people in the distance did not dare to watch anymore. This was definitely a scene of death. Kid, I'll let you see your woman die in front of you with your own eyes. Cloud Sky Saint's expression was cold as he stared at Lin Xian to prevent him from saving Yan Ryu. Lin Xian did not make a move at all. Instead, he sneered. Die in front of me? Humph, the ones who will die will be you. He was not worried at all. Yan Ryu could even kill a saint, let alone 4 people working together. Sure enough, with a boom, the 4 people's terrifying abilities were about to devour Yan Ryu in an instant. Just as everyone thought that Yenryu was going to be torn apart, a terrifying azure light rushed out from within Yenryu's body. Chapter 3374. Then, a silhouette appeared on her body. The silhouette split open the sky and shattered all the energy. As for the 4 great powerhouses, they were sent flying while coughing up blood. Each of them was torn into pieces. This shocking change left everyone dumbfounded. What was going on? The 4 experts surrounded Yenryu. The one who should have been killed was Yenryu. But where was she now? Yenryu was unharmed while the 4 experts were sent flying. Each of them was split in half and were severely injured. I'm not dreaming, am I? The surrounding people were dumbfounded. Cloud Sky Saint's eyelids were twitching while the little sword saint gasped. What was wrong with this woman? How could she be so terrifying? Could it be that the most powerful one was not Lin Wudy, but this woman? At this moment, Lin Xian laughed. Haha, I said it before. How could it be so easy to kill my woman? Since you dared to kill us today, you will definitely die. Damn it! Cloud Sky Saint's face darkened. Fortunately, they came together this time. Otherwise, if he came alone, he would be the one injured right now. Why did he feel a terrifying aura coming from that woman? It made him shudder with fear. What treasure did this woman have? Buzz! He launched a surprise attack. The left hand of the MO moved and turned into a mountain, blasting forward. Its target was Yenryu. It seemed like Cloud Sky Saint was afraid of Yenryu's strength, and wanted to kill her by surprise. However, how could Yenryu be so easy to kill? Her strength was extremely terrifying. With a boom, a cyan light soared from Yenryu's body and transformed into a cyan palm, which also blasted over. It directly shattered the light shot out by the left hand of the MO. How was this possible? Everyone was stunned. Yenryu was actually able to fight against the left hand of the MO. It was too unbelievable. Cloud Sky Saint's face changed. His left hand of the MO was extremely terrifying. In his opinion, he could use it to fight against a second heaven saint. But now, it was blocked by a sage-to-be. Moreover, it seemed like she was doing it with ease. Damn it! What the hell is going on? What was that green light on her body? After that attack, Yenryu did not attack again. He did not even look at Cloud Sky Saint. Instead, he looked at Long Shan and the other 3. Clearly, she had left Cloud Sky Saint to Lin Xian. When the others saw this scene, they sucked in a breath of cold air. What was going on? Did he think that Lin Wudy had the strength to kill Cloud Saint? How could this be? Damn it, I was actually underestimated. Cloud Sky Saint's face darkened. Alright, I'll kill this brat first. In any case, his goal this time was to kill Lin Xian. He originally thought that Yenryu's strength was strong and would make a move to stop him. However, he didn't expect the other party to ignore him. This way, he could get rid of Lin Xian first. After he got rid of Lin Xian, he would study Yenryu and see what was so special about her. Brat, it seems like your woman won't help you. Since it's like this, go to hell. Cloud Sky Saint stretched out his left hand. He slapped forward, and a terrifying demonic light spread out. The entire sea region was enveloped by the demonic light. It was a scene of destruction. It's over. That Lin Wudy is dead for sure. That's right. That beautiful woman could block it, but it didn't mean that Lin Wudy could block it. The demon's left hand was too terrifying. Even a stage 1 saint couldn't block it. That Lin Xian definitely couldn't block it either. Cries of surprise could be heard. Lin Xian also narrowed his eyes, and a cold light burst out from his eyes. He waved his hand, and the great dragon sword soul roared. It turned into the 10,000 dragons picture and charged forward. Boom! In the next moment, the two collided. The shocking collision caused the entire sea region to split open. In all directions, there were terrifying cracks everywhere. Many people were even sent flying by this force. What? He blocked it. The remaining experts screamed. Longshan and the little sword saint's eyelids twitched, because they realized that the 10,000 Dragons picture had blocked the demon's left hand. The two were in a stalemate in the void, and terrifying black holes appeared around them. This Lin Woody was too terrifying. He actually had a way to block such a terrifying demon's left hand. Many people gasped. However, Longshan screamed. This was the 10,000 Dragons picture. Damn it, he could actually summon the 10,000 Dragons picture. This was an extreme weapon. Could it be that he had seen the 10,000 Dragons picture before? He was really crazy. When the others heard this, they were even more shocked. Indeed, Lin Woody was too mysterious. Cloud Sky Saint's expression also became extremely ugly. He blocked it? How was this possible? Die for me. With a roar, he mobilized all the power in his body and used it on the demon's left hand. Instantly, the 10,000 Dragons picture shook violently. Many cracks appeared on it, and it suddenly split open. However, the cracked 10,000 Dragons picture released a sword chi that completely destroyed the energy of the demon's left hand. Lin Xian took 2 steps back. However, this time, he wasn't injured. He looked at the other party and smiled. Your trump card is indeed powerful, but unfortunately it can't do anything to me. Can't do anything to you? You're too naive. Now die for me. I don't believe that you can use that kind of divine ability again. Cloud Sky Saint revealed a sinister expression. He could still use the demon's left hand many times, but the other party's 10,000 Dragons picture? He didn't believe that the other party could use the 10,000 Dragons picture repeatedly. That kind of illusion wasn't an ordinary divine ability. Even if a saint created it, it would be very difficult. Not to mention, the other party was a half-step saint. Hearing this, the surrounding people fell silent. The demon's left hand was terrifying, and Cloud Sky Saint was a true saint. His strength definitely surpassed the other party. This time, Lin Woody was most likely going to be in big trouble. Sure enough, when the demon's left hand slapped out again, everyone was horrified. They discovered that the demon's left hand's power didn't weaken at all. Lin Xian shouted coldly and summoned the 10,000 Dragons picture again to fight against the demon's left hand. A shocking collision occurred, and countless black holes appeared. 2 times, 3 times, the two of them collided a total of 5 times. In the end, cracks appeared on Lin Xian's body again. He spat out large mouthfuls of blood. Golden blood dyed the surrounding sea red. It couldn't be helped. The demon's left hand was really too strong. It was really heaven-defying for him to be able to block it. Ha ha, kid, let's see how long you can last. Cloud Sky Saint attacked crazily. He swallowed large amounts of pills and natural treasures to maintain his strength. Do you think you're the only one with natural treasures? Lin Xian took out 2 king herbs and ate them. They were both 10,000-year-old king herbs. The moment he ate them, the blood in his body rumbled. It was like a furnace of heaven and earth, like a volcano. His strength rose again. The sword chi on his body continued to explode. Do you think that I only have the 10,000 Dragons picture? Lin Xian sneered. Chapter 3375. He used the 10,000 Dragons diagram with one hand. With the other hand, he waved the great spear of destruction and pointed it upwards. The seawater kept surging, and a black hole appeared. Sword chi interweaved, forming a sword chi sky. What's that? Everyone looked up at the sky, not understanding what Lin Xian was going to do. But soon they screamed. Could it be? Their hearts were trembling. What's wrong with Lin Woody? How can he evolve such a divine ability? The sword chi trembled, and a crack suddenly appeared. Then, countless sword chi interweaved, forming a pagoda. That pagoda was too mysterious and terrifying. It made people feel like it was not something from the human world. That's the hidden immortal pagoda. Isn't that Yan Nanshan's peerless divine ability? Why is he using it too? Longshan and the others screamed crazily. They were no longer in the mood to fight. They all retreated into the distance and stared blankly at the scene. Cloud Sky Saint's pupils constricted. How is this possible? It must be an illusion. He must be deceiving me. He wanted to use the demonic left hand to dispel the illusion in the sky, but at that moment, Lin Xian's 10,000 dragons diagram was pushed out. The 10,000 dragons diagram was also extremely terrifying. Other than the demonic left hand, Cloud Sky Saint could not resist it at all. Even his sacred domain could not block the 10,000 dragons diagram. Therefore, he had no choice but to grit his teeth and attack the 10,000 dragons diagram first. In his opinion, Lin Xian was already barely able to evolve the 10,000 dragons diagram. How could he also evolve the hidden immortal pagoda? Therefore, he did not believe it. However, when the hidden immortal pagoda descended, Cloud Sky Saint's expression changed. He knew that he had guessed wrong. He could actually evolve the hidden immortal pagoda. He wanted to retreat, but it was too late. The hidden immortal pagoda hit him hard. A bloody hole appeared on his body, and his internal organs were all shattered. Ah! Cloud Sky Saint screamed crazily. His flesh and blood regenerated again, and he was as good as new. However, his face was a little pale. At that moment, the hidden immortal pagoda's second attack came. With a boom, half of Cloud Sky Saint's body, including his head, was directly blasted into pieces. Only a pair of legs stood there. Of course, his left hand was also there, emitting a pitch-black light. When the surrounding experts saw this scene, they gasped in shock. The phantom of the hidden immortal pagoda was too terrifying. Even the body of a sage could not withstand it. It couldn't be helped. Both the 10,000 dragons portrait and the hidden immortal pagoda were extreme weapons that belonged to emperors. Furthermore, the other party had used some kind of powerful means to conjure it up. Judging from how lifelike it was definitely no ordinary illusion. It was normal for a first heaven sage to not be able to block it. The little sword saint muttered to himself. His eyes were filled with shock. Long Shan and the others also became frightened. Was this the kind of person they wanted to kill? This was too terrifying. No, he had to act quickly. He had to kill the other party. Otherwise, the consequences would be endless. The four of them looked at each other and immediately attacked. Long Shan transformed into a huge dragon and stretched out his dragon claws. Desolate Overlord struck out with his 8 desolate 6 closed palms, his powerful aura looking down on everything. Yulingzi directly concealed himself in the void, sneaking in to assassinate. Xikong Jing shouted from above the sea. The Milky Way descends from the 9 heavens. The bright moon above the sea. The surrounding people exclaimed again. They had seen the Milky Way descends from the 9 heavens before, but they were also very familiar with the bright moon above the sea. Legend had it that this was the sacred domain of a very powerful sage. Why would it be conjured by the other party? Could it be that this Xikong Jing was also like Lin Woody and could conjure all kinds of strange phenomena? They were really shocked. However, the little sword saint said that the sage's sacred domain was indeed the bright moon above the sea. However, it was different from Xikong Jing's. Xikong Jing cultivated the righteous qi of heaven and earth, so he could naturally conjure some strange phenomena. So that was how it was. The surrounding experts suddenly understood. However, at this moment, there was a shocking change in front of them. The 4 experts had joined forces to launch a sneak attack. Lin Xian had just used 2 of his ultimate techniques and didn't have any power to follow up. Boom! 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 A monstrous light enveloped Lin Xian. Everyone held their breaths. Would Lin Woody be injured? Perhaps he would be killed. Could it be that Lin Woody had blocked the Cloud Sky Saint's attack and died at the hands of these 4 people? Everyone was looking forward to it. Even the little sword saint's heart was in his mouth. Hee, you're dead now, aren't you? Yulingzi sneered. You're too confident. You didn't die at the hands of the sage, but at least you're worthy of your reputation. Long Shan sneered as well. Xikong Jing and Huang Batian also secretly heaved a sigh of relief. Lin Woody was still alive, which was a huge pressure for them. The 4 of you are really despicable. It seems like you've mastered the art of sneak attacks. However, do you think that the four of you can kill me with a sneak attack? Suddenly, a cold voice rang out. What? Ulingzi screamed. Longshan and the others' eyelids twitched wildly. Their eyes were filled with disbelief. What's going on? That's Lin Witty's voice. Damn it, could it be that he's not dead? But how is that possible? Even a sage would be seriously injured if he was ambushed by them. If he's not dead, he might be seriously injured. They comforted themselves. However, when all the energy disappeared, they were completely dumbfounded because they realized that there were no cracks on Lin Xian's body. How is that possible? Is he really not injured? At this moment, Ulingzi raised his hand and looked at his dagger. In the next moment, he was scared out of his wits. Because there was not a single drop of blood on his dagger. Not only that, there were a few cracks on it. Although it was small, it was like a bolt out of the blue in his eyes. Not good, retreat quickly. This person is a monster. His physique is probably stronger than an ordinary sage's. The four of them quickly retreated. Boom! However, it was too late. The 10,000 dragons portrait directly blasted the four of them away. The four of them were instantly torn into pieces, their bodies turning into a bloody mist. Some of the bloody mist was even destroyed by the 10,000 dragons portrait. No, damn it, stop, you can't kill me. I was wrong. Ah! The four of them screamed crazily. However, at this moment, the hidden immortal pagoda in the sky fell and was about to destroy the four of them. However, at this moment, Cloud Sky Saint made his move. He snorted coldly and attacked with the left hand of the demon again, blocking the hidden immortal pagoda. The remaining four of them were wrapped in the remaining blood and fled into the distance. Although they were seriously injured, they could still recover with their strength. The four of them directly tore through the void and fled into the distance, not daring to stay any longer. Lin Xian did not chase after the four of them. Instead, he stared at Cloud Sky Saint. Because in his opinion, the four of them were weak. They were just ants. Chapter 3376. Cloud Sky Saint's face turned green because he realized that Yen Ryu was also looking at him. Damn it, I can't even defeat one Lin Xian, and now I have to add Yen Ryu to the mix, he said. Kid, if you have the guts, let's fight one-on-one. Lin Xian laughed loudly. What did you say? You want to fight one-on-one with me? Do you have the guts to say that? I'm a half-saint and I'm very young. What about you? You've lived for 1,000 or 2,000 years and you're a saint. Where did you get the guts to say that? The surrounding people's mouths twitched. Indeed, if a saint said to a half-saint, let's fight one-on-one, it would be bullying. Wasn't this bullying? He reckoned that the saints would lose all their face. As expected, Cloud Sky Saint's face darkened when he heard that. However, at that moment, Lin Xian laughed loudly. Don't worry, I'll be merciful and fulfill your wish. I can still kill you one-on-one. You're courting death. Arrogant kid! Go and die. Cloud Sky Saint was completely enraged. To tell the truth, saying that he wanted to fight one-on-one made him lose face. However, compared to his life, he didn't care about losing face. As long as he could kill Yen Ryu, he would still be a saint and Yen Ryu would be a lonely ghost. The demon's left hand struck out fiercely while Lin Xian controlled the illusions of the two extreme Dao Emperor weapons to fight against it. In the end, after 36 moves, Cloud Sky Saint's body was smashed apart again. Only the demon's left hand was still intact. At that moment, Lin Xian directly waved the 10,000 dragons diagram and rushed forward. The dragon sword soul roared and transformed into countless sword lights. This time, it went all out and quickly wiped out Cloud Sky Saint's blood. Cloud Sky Saint was so scared that he peed his pants. If it was anything else, he wouldn't be afraid because he was a saint. However, when the dragon sword soul appeared, he was so scared that he peed his pants. The piercingly cold sword she caused his saint's blood to be constantly wiped out and disappeared. If all of his blood was wiped out, he would really die. Hence, he fled like a madman. His blood scattered into countless pieces and flew in all directions like a rain of blood. However, the great dragon sword spirit was even more powerful. It transformed into countless beams of sword chi. In the end, Lin Xian formed a seal with his fingers, and a sword seal was imprinted in the void. This scene was the same as the Little Sword Saint's 10,000 sword art. Countless sword chi trash rushed out together with the seawater of the void sea. Cloud Sky Saint screamed. Most of his saint blood had been destroyed. The remaining saint blood would not be able to escape. However, before Lin Xian could do anything, Cloud Sky Saint screamed. His remaining blood was absorbed. No, damn it, what's going on? He screamed like a madman, and the people around him were stunned. Did Lin Wude use some powerful means again? Lin Xian also stopped and frowned. He did not use any techniques, so what was going on with Cloud Sky Saint? It was the devil's left hand. He finally discovered that terrifying demonic runes had appeared on the left hand of the devil. He sucked the rest of the sacred blood into his body. Everyone sucked in a breath of cold air. Even Cloud Sky Saint let out an angry roar. Damn it, how could this happen? He was really shocked. After he obtained the devil's left hand from the devil altar, he was overjoyed. With his strength, he could continue attacking continuously. Moreover, he had many treasures on him that could restore his strength at any time. Hence, the devil's left hand was like a sacred weapon to him. As long as he was not dead, he could use it. However, he realized that he did not understand the devil's left hand at all. At the last moment, the devil's left hand had absorbed his blood. What was he trying to do? Was he trying to come back to life, or was he trying to do something else? Or was it something that was controlled by someone else? Cloud Sky Saint did not know that the last of his blood had been absorbed by the devil's left hand. As for him, he had disappeared into thin air. In the end, he did not die in the hands of Lin Xian. Instead, he died in the hands of his own weapon. Looking at this scene, the surrounding people were stunned. Previously, they were envious of the devil's left hand. But now, the devil's left hand was floating quietly in the void sea. However, no one dared to step forward. Buzz! Lin Xian raised his golden hand and grabbed the devil's left hand. Then, he pulled it in front of him and looked at it carefully. What a magical item! It could even kill a saint. He cast a few seals and sealed the devil's left hand. He felt that this was a treasure. He had seen it before. Cloud Sky Saint was not as strong as him. But after taking out the devil's left hand, he could injure him. This was definitely a godly weapon. If used well, it would not be weaker than a sacred weapon. Yan Ryu frowned. This item is weird. Are you sure you want to use it? Lin Xian smiled. It's fine. I'll study it first. Anyway, I can't leave this good item to others. He kept the devil's left hand. After that, Lin Xian and Yan Ryu started to wait. The surrounding people also started to move away from them. They were all watching from afar with bewilderment. Nobody dared to move forward. Even the Little Sword Saint had left, because he had suffered a huge blow after watching this battle. After about half a month, the blood-red whirlpools slowly disappeared. The dark red divine dragon and the North Beast's figure also appeared. The two of them laughed excitedly when they came out. The crimson dragon roared. This is great. The demon saint's blood is indeed useful to Ben Wang. Ben Wang is almost at the saint realm now. The dragon blood in his body is unusually strong. On the other side, the North Beast smiled satisfactorily. His 1,000-beast body was even more mysterious. Obviously, the blood-red whirlpool had given the two of them great rewards. The group left again. Everyone had gained something. Lin Xian also obtained the Water Taoist stone. So, he was left with one last target. That was the statue of the great saint. However, Lin Xian did not know where it was at the moment. But thinking about it, the statue of the great saint could suppress the terrifying demonic qi. Even the Langistar wanted it. It was definitely an extremely precious treasure. If there was one, it must be in the deepest part of the void ocean. So, the group identified the direction and set off towards the depths of the void ocean. On the other side, Long Shan, Huang Batian, and the others fled quickly. They only heaved a sigh of relief when they realized that no one was chasing after them. Then, they used their trump cards and treasures to recover their bodies. The 4 of them were extremely pale, without a trace of blood. The recovery this time had damaged their foundation. It seemed that after returning, they would have to go into seclusion for hundreds of years to completely recover. Damn it! How could that guy be so powerful? Long Shan gritted his teeth. Huang Batian and the others also looked gloomy. Sikong Jing's expression was cold. However, at this moment, his eyebrows twitched. Because his family's sound transmission array rang. After hearing the sound transmission, Sikong Jing's expression changed. Everyone, I have something to do. I'll take my leave first. Then, without waiting for their response, he controlled a few Milky Ways and quickly shuttled through the sea. Soon, he disappeared. You're tuning into the Phoenix Nights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.